Sports Hub, Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Yesterday was day one in the NFL's legal tampering period, and the Patriots were busy. They signed a total of 7 players, the biggest of which was former Philadelphia defensive lineman Milton Williams, who agreed to a 4-year, $104 million contract. Also coming aboard, former Detroit defensive back Carlton Davis for 3 years and $60 million. Vegas linebacker Robert Spillane for 3 years and $37.5 million. And Jets right tackle Morgan Moses for 3 years and $24 million. Also, the Patriots assigned backup quarterback Josh Dobbs, former Buffalo wideout Mac Hollins, and defensive tackle Kyrus Tonga. Around the league, Sam Darnold cashed in. He signed a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. The Jets have with Seattle. The Jets have signed former Pittsburgh Steeler Justin Fields, and Miami has signed Zach Wilson. Houston yesterday traded starting left tackle Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders. The Celtics blew a 23-point fourth quarter lead, and they were playing Utah, who was in last place. However, they had enough at the end of the game for a 114-108 win. Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis all sat out. But Sam Hauser made 9 threes. He finished with a career-high 33 points. Celtics host Oklahoma City tomorrow night. The Bruins face Florida at TD Garden tonight. Brad Marchand is not expected to play for his new team, but said yesterday he missed his old one.
You know, obviously, it's sad to leave a place that I look at as home. I had a lot of great memories in Boston and a ton of incredible years there. But it's extremely exciting to be part of such an incredible group.
Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5, the Sports Hub, and the Red Sox play Philadelphia in Fort Myers today. Sports Hub headlines are powered by Oakers Technologies. This offseason, let's revamp our roster and let's revamp your technology and IT systems with Oakers, a local team with the scale to be your single-source IT partner. Visit okers.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 the Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Some people play the game.
Hey, Jaylen Brown.
Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's
it.
welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics Show with Murray and Gasper, Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT going up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fans and having some fun.
on 98.5 the Sports Hub.
Let's go.
I'm going to enjoy this.
Is it a lobster roll?
No.
Is it a tuna fish sandwich?
No. Caesar salad.
Oh! Ah! No!
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hi. We are the Toucher and Hardy Show, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us live on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. I would have been on earlier, but someone keeps taking off this mic condom.
No!
I know, Joe, it's something else. I've always been encouraged to have a mic condom on because I guess the mic can get dirty. And then, so Celsius, who sponsors the show, the studio, they got a big Celsius flag if you watch us on YouTube. And I had a Celsius mouth condom. And now I've grown
I thought they're called
accustomed
dental dams.
No, because a dental dam would go over a hole.
Okay.
And
Well, the
this-
holes of in the screen of the microphone, in the metal screen.
Now you're just flailing. No, it goes over the protrusion, which is the microphone, which makes it a condom.
Okay.
It's cut and dry, Hardy. I'm not going to indulge you. any further on that matter, as the matter has been settled. I'm standing firm with that. So, but I don't know who would take it off. Like, is someone else using it?
I think Joe probably uses it. I think it gets used right over here.
But then why wouldn't you just not use it? I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to use someone else's. Like, there's nothing wrong with using the mic without one. So that's A. So you don't need it. But the whole point of it would be to have your own, because if you don't have your own, I don't know what the point of it is.
Well, okay. So why are you using it because you're for the sponsor, or because you want to like have a cleaner microphone?
Well, I was using it because of the sponsor, and now it's because of the cleaner microphone, so I don't have to put up with the shenanigans anymore when I'm out.
So I think Joe is being asked to use it for the sponsor.
How come we don't have more than one?
Yeah. Why wouldn't we have more than one?
It's not that big of a sponsor.
Oh,
I mean, they're sponsored, but what? Celsius all of a sudden has billions of dollars to spend on Mike condoms?
Apparently not.
Oh boy, that's not. So that's a good point. So maybe Joe has to put it on his mic.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why.
So they have to
So we just
then
need
maybe Joe should just have the. I should just give it to Joe then.
Well, we just need Celsius to send us a few more condoms.
If that's the case, then just Joe should have it.
Okay.
Because if he needs it for a sponsor.
Yeah, you have it on. You have it there in front of you anyway.
You have it on your boom.
No, I don't need it for the sponsorship. So if he's using it for the sponsorship, then he should just have it.
Okay.
Which is very magnanimous of me, but Celsius, if you're listening and you would like to give me a mic condom, I would take one.
But because of the way your mic is angled, it's upside down.
Yeah, I know.
Which isn't great.
But maybe it's intriguing to people. Like, they'll go, like, what is that?
And it makes them look at it even more.
Right. Haven't there been ads in the past like that? I mean, hasn't there in the past been
I
things
can't think of an
nature?
ad, but I can think of a music video where this very talented guy, and he had been in a band, but he decided to go solo. And he did a song that some argued he only did the song so that he could make the music video. But what he did, John, was that he said he had this feeling that was so good it was like dancing on the ceiling. And what he did was he walked up the wall, and then he was standing on the ceiling, but he was upside down. And that man's name
Lionel Richie
was Marvin Gaye.
Oh.
And all right, Lionel Richie.
Yes.
Oh, what a feeling when we're dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I remember not enjoying that song.
I'll give him this. Is that A, he's like the YouTube guy that makes money, and B, he puts that money back into the product. Like that guy, I mean, that guy's got videos. They did one where they like went around the world to these different places. It's like because he's making them for kids, so they're like 7-minute videos, and he's like going around the world. And they went to like the pyramids in Egypt and like went into these places people don't normally go into. I mean, he's got to spend, $10 million on that video, and then I don't know. Good for Mr. Beast, but and good for Lionel Richie.
Yeah,
who hasn't had any work done, and he's keeping it natural.
Right. He's doing the Robert Redford style, just to let all the wrinkles and all the all the imperfections show.
Well, Robert Redford was so good looking, it probably got a little old for the man.
Is he still with us?
Robert Redford's still alive.
Yeah, 88.
They're making Indecent Proposal 2, where he offers the couple of $1 million and then he can't get it up. He's put a lot of pressure on himself.
Indecent Proposal 2, where he doesn't meet her in a casino. He meets her on an airplane. And he offers her no money.
Scribbles in her textbook.
Yeah. They just develop an actual relationship. And it's the sequel is called Decent Proposal.
Yeah.
But is it?
It's called Philosophical
I'm not
Proposal.
sure that it is.
Is what it is.
Jury's still out.
Yeah. He goes to her and he goes, I'll give you $1 million. Indecent proposal. Let's go. An hour and a half later. There was nothing indecent about that. Indecent, humiliating proposal.
So,
excuse me, miss, I have a humiliating proposal for you. I see you have high heels on. Could you perhaps step on my genitals? Okay. Thank you. What's this now? You have something to say?
No, I thought it would be one of those instances where we were watching Poltergeist the other night, like the original one, and laughing at how young Joe Beth Williams and who's the father in Poltergeist?
I don't remember. At
Oh,
all.
the guy from Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Craig T. Nelson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, how old you thought they were when you were a kid watching it, and they're, like, of course, way younger than us now.
Yeah.
But at least Robert Redford in Indecent Proposal, want to guess how old he was in that movie, John?
55.
57.
Yeah.
So okay. That doesn't make me feel old because, yes, of course you were supposed to think of him as a lecherous old man in Indecent Proposal, and he was 50. Oh, sorry, John.
John, are you 57?
Dick. Yes.
I didn't even think of it. I just it was
What an
way
a-hole.
older than me.
What an a-hole you are. My God. That was another Wilford Brimley moment right there. Thank you. That was really nice of you.
The Wilford Brimley one.
What time is it? 11 after 6 in the morning? Thank you.
Wilford Brimley and Cocoon is the gold standard for...
I was thinking The Natural, but all right.
The thing with Wilford Brimley and Cocoon, if you don't know, Cocoon's about these old people. It's like all about old people, basically. That's all you need to know. It's not. It was a big sensation, but it's not like a particularly good movie. And Wilford Brimley was like 49 when they made it. That's more on Wilford Brimley than it is on the age of 49. Like I've done some deep dive thinking into that. And Wilford Brimley, he just looked super old. Like that's on him. Like 49-year-old people don't look that. First of all, the process of aging has gotten way better. I mean, just look at baseball cards or hockey cards from like even the 80s. Like dudes look old as hell.
Yeah.
They look like all beat up. And then you'll go, how old was he? They're like 32. So like aging has kind of improved a little bit too because I mean, our skincare routines are all out of sight. And the thing is that that's on Wilford Brimley. He had a big bushy. He's fat. He had a big, bushy, white, bald, and a big, bushy, white mustache. I mean, you're just, like, asking for it.
He was in The Firm, too, right? He was,
yes.
He looked really old in The Firm.
Yeah, he was on Our House with Brenda from 90210.
Shannon Doherty.
Brenda from 90210. I don't need to know her name. It's Brenda.
My bad.
Is she still alive? Because sadly,
No.
she was sick, so she did die.
Die of cancer, yes.
Yeah, that's sad. Very too young. But I did remember that she had an illness. So, I don't. The Wilford Brimley thing, that's on Wilford Brimley. Because Don Amici's in that, and Don Amici looks good. And Don Amici's probably 70 in that thing, at least in late 60s. And he's dancing around and stuff. Like, have you seen Dick Van Dyke?
Yes.
Dick Van Dyke's like
recently.
107, and he can, like, dance.
Yeah, I have. I don't know where I saw him, but I saw him, and he was actually, I think he's 99.
Yeah, and he was a huge.
like that.
I think he's 99. He's a huge alcohol. He was a huge alcoholic, and then
Yeah.
he recovered. So he lived a life, and he's dancing around like at 99. So I mean, come on.
So Cocoon came out in 85. Don Amici, who you just mentioned, Fred, in the film, was born in 1908. So he would have been 77 years?
75?
Yeah, so okay, so that's again on Wilford Brimley. Don Amici is 27 years older than, or no, 37 years older than Wilford Brimley. Again,
like
my
30
point's
years, yeah.
whatever. I don't know.
No, but you're right. They looked about the same age in that movie.
I think Don Amici looked better. I mean, Don Amici certainly was in better shape.
Yes.
So yeah, Don Amici was in Trading Places. He had a whole career resurgence. So still don't know what he was, but Don Amici was probably in like the silent films or something. You know, like no joke. Like in the 80s. So say silent films were in the 30s, and he was in silent. He probably was in silent films, or right around that time. He was in his 20s. So my point remains.
All right, so the really hot alien was played by Tawny Welch.
Tawny Peaks?
Daughter of Raquel Welch. Ah, that explains it. She didn't do much, though. She
Don
did
Amici
Cocoon.
started making movies in 1935. So
Okay.
I don't know. That might
No,
be
those
just
are not
after.
silent
That's
films.
just
Yeah,
after.
that's just
but,
after.
But it's close. It's pretty close.
I mean, that's 1935 is before Casablanca and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, 1935 is before my my mom and dad were born, and they're ancient.
Mine too.
And they're very old. My father has grown silent. I talked to my mother. She mailed me cookies for my birthday, and they got here like 2 weeks ago.
Yesterday.
Or like a week ago.
She mailed you cookies?
Well, there are a couple of false starts.
Oh.
For whatever reason, they never arrived. And
Were they homemade?
Yeah.
Who does that?
How are they?
Well, no, she had to, like, it was 3 tries to get them out. So, like, so.
To get them out of the oven or get them out of the mailbox?
That was going to be my next question.
She attempted to mail cookies to me twice, and they never arrived. So she attempted the third time. And so she was running back and forth to the post office to prove that they never got to where they were going and to ask for her money back. So she waited in line at the post office and went and negotiated. So I'm sure the people in line behind her were very excited.
Probably,
yeah.
And then they finally arrived.
What kind of cookies?
It's hard to say what they are. They're very good. My son ate most of them, but they're not so much cookies as they're not circular. They're like these little rectangles. They're very good. They taste kind of like butter.
Those are Fig Newtons.
Yeah, she packaged together a bunch of Fig Newtons.
Well, she takes them out of the package and then puts them on a plate. Then that counts.
If anyone said I'm making cookies and made Fig Newtons, you'd have to have them put in a hospice.
Yes.
Can you make the worst cookie of all time, please?
It's not really a cookie.
And put figs in it.
Not really a cookie. Yeah.
Fruit and cake.
Yeah.
Did she send you?
You
some...
like those, don't you, 12?
No, I was just referencing the old commercial.
All right.
That's how they marketed them. It's not a cookie. It's fruit and cake.
I'm not.
It's all tastes.
You're a fruit cake.
Hey.
Oh. Man.
Yeah, I'm quick with the tongue. Don't worry about it. And so are you, I bet.
Well, that sounds like a compliment. Yeah, I'll take that. I guess not. Read that one wrong. Oh, okay. All right.
Why don't you go to San Francisco there, funny boy?
Yoo-hoo.
All right. Today, Andrew Callahan's going to be in for an hour. I'll say this as a way of a tease. The grades on these free agent signings certainly do span the alphabet. I've seen the big defensive tackle signing get an F.
Milton Williams.
I know. Milton Williams. I know why it got an F. It doesn't matter to the Patriots if they overspent. Who cares? He was on a defensive line with like 2 all-time players, and then he probably benefited from that.
A little bit.
But I don't know if it deserves an F. And then there's people that had him as the best free agent. Exactly. So I've seen A- and I've seen F and everything in between. And I've seen the Geno Smith trade praised. I've seen the Geno Smith trade dismissed. I've seen the Sam Darnold signing praised. I've seen it dismissed. I've seen the Justin Fields signing dismissed and praised. I mean, the whole
Zach Wilson back in the AFC East.
Well, someone loved that because they want to see what Mike McDaniels can do to him. I mean, it's insane. Like the whole, it's just not like when things are that all over the place. It's just like, what the hell are we even doing? The draft is way more interesting for the grading because who knows? Like, you know, these guys, it's their specialty that they got to watch all this film. Like the Patriots signed a receiver from Buffalo that if you watch Buffalo 5 times last year, you might go, oh yeah, I guess maybe that guy caught a ball in that game. Like, you know, and then people are like passionate about the signing, and either way, it's like it's all right. You got yourself an okay receiver. Like, I mean, good. Your team's a little bit better than it was.
I wouldn't expect you to grade anyone's draft in any situation, Fred. But I guess the question is, would you? If once the draft is complete, and I can't remember if we had this conversation last year, you see what your team picks, would you be willing to give them a grade as to how they did drafting players.
No. But what my knowledge of the draft is that I consume so much of other people's opinions.
Okay.
I can aggregate those. But no, I don't know. By no means, no. But that's the thing.
The reason why I ask is we would sit around after the draft for years with Zoe and Beetle, and Beetle refused to grade any drafts. His reason being, well, I don't know how these players are going to play.
Oh, yeah,
We're
that's no fun.
Well, no kidding. Nobody actually knows, but for someone who is not shy with his opinion ever, that was Beetle's line. That was his line in the sand. No, I'm not grading the draft. That's stupid. We won't know for 3 years. Then what are we doing? What are we doing here all day then?
I know.
Right.
No kidding. None of us know anything.
Right. Yeah.
Don't stop. You're gonna draw the line there.
Yeah, I mean, you take an aggregate of what people said, and then you. I mean, there's some stuff that's obvious, like when the Patriots took Tavon Wilson at the beginning of the second round, and you went, well, he wasn't at the combine. Like that's kind of even if Tavon Wilson becomes a good player, spoiler, he doesn't. You go, well, obviously he would have been available later. Like just for the use of that pick, like where you took him, that wasn't an area to take him. Well, how do you know? I have a pretty good idea if they invite like total losers like the quarterback from Ohio State who can't even throw the ball downfield in shorts to the combine, that if you don't get invited to the combine, you're probably not the world's greatest player. Well, Fred, this guy, okay, wait, fine, one guy, but you still don't take him in the second round, top of the second round.
Right.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hood.
night.
Hi, everyone. Hello. We are Toucher and Hardy, and what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
All right, Celtics last night at home taking on the Utah Jazz. They just took on the Lakers on Saturday night. They got Oklahoma City coming in. Utah Jazz, not a good basketball team. They're 15-50 now on the season.
Yeah, they're already eliminated from the playoffs. But the thing is about them is that they play a little bit like Jazz.
Oh.
You know, if you put on like Thelonious Monk while they're playing, hey there, John Collins. I heard you in town. You need some skag. Isaiah and Colin Sexton. What you willing to do for that sweet fix? You gonna be sick for the game. Don't be sick for the game. You need some rigs.
Take a pregame nap. You're gonna need a wake-up bag.
That's right. You didn't have the sense to hold yourself a wake-up bag. You got a keys to that, or someone gonna take it out your sock while you're on the nod.
Okay.
You understand? No comprende, dum-dum. Cody Williams. You look like someone who loves skag. Am I right or am I wrong? I'm Jazz Wallach.
All right. So Jazz for big chunk of that game last night played like a
big chunk of black tar. I'm wrong.
Okay.
What I like to inject in my vein, you understand?
I do.
Now put on. Now get them lips, lick them up, make them wet.
The Utah Jazz played.
Them are kissing lips. Kiss my lips, fella. Treat me like your boyfriend. Hold me.
Okay. All right.
What?
Now you want to cuddle? You want to cuddle in exchange for heroin?
I want it to be an intimate experience.
Okay.
I don't want to make it feel like it's transactional.
I understand.
You understand?
Yeah, I do. The Jazz played like a poor basketball team for huge chunks of that game last night. How do I know? Because Sam Hauser was allowed to go off.
Thunder will play Denver again tonight and then fly to Boston tomorrow. Hauser catch and shoot. Quick three off the timeout. Knocks it down. Derek White got the ball to him immediately. Celtics needed a hot hand, and Sam Hauser has made 3 threes already in the quarter. Celtics have the largest lead for either side tonight, now up by 11.
In fairness, they just thought he was a home fan. They thought he was just some guy in the stands in Utah.
Yeah.
They wandered onto the court.
Well, and somehow made his way to Boston and started playing. So, all right, that was their largest lead when they went up 11, but Hauser was in no way finished in the third quarter alone.
Long lead, Hauser in the corner. Hauser's made 6 threes already in the quarter. Steps back to his right, hits another one. 7 threes in the quarter for Sam Hauser. 90-67.
90-67. That feels like a 23-point lead in the third quarter last night, Wallach.
Mm-hmm.
7 3-pointers for Sam Hauser.
Yep, 9 for the game. They were up 92-69 in the first minute of the fourth quarter.
Unbelievable. So 92-69. Hauser has gone off. This game is in the books, right?
Sensabaugh for Williams. Floats back to Sensabaugh. Good look. Left side 3. Swish. 5-point game.
What?
And the Jazz are now 8 of their last 11 from 3.
What?
Great play by the Jazz. A little delayed break.
Okay, they got within 5. That's very cute and everything, but they're not going to get closer than that.
Under out of bounds, in safely to Sexton. Utah can tie here. Sensabaugh finds Kessler, who attacks, goes to the left hand. It bounces in, and the Utah Jazz have made up a 23-point fourth quarter deficit, and we start over again, tied at 103 with 3:14 to go.
I was just going to say, it wasn't like the last minute. There was still a lot of time left, and they tied it.
It is the most ridiculous thing that happens so often in the NBA. Like the season's too long. Okay, the games are the right length, but there's too many of them. And a 23-point lead to start the fourth quarter gets whittled away by a crap team like the Utah Jazz. Why? Because there's so many freaking games, and who could stay focused and care that much?
You think there was a little letdown after the Saturday night game against the Lakers?
This is a little different. You had the Lakers Saturday of Oklahoma City coming in on Wednesday. They didn't take this game as seriously.
Well,
as
they didn't play Jason Tatum. Yes.
They sat Tatum. Horford didn't play. Porzingis was out. They thought they could coast through. I mean, I understand what you're saying. But January and February is when that happens.
Yeah.
Now is the time where you're supposed to pivot and get ready for the playoffs.
And all that is correct, but it's still the same two teams on the court last night. They didn't start Jason Tatum and then pull him out of the game. Mm-hmm. He wasn't there. He wasn't there when they built up the 23-point fourth quarter lead, which evaporated and tied it at 103. So I guess it's only fitting that the guy who kind of put the first of the daggers in was the guy who gave them that 23-point lead in the third quarter.
Celtics by 5, hand the ball, lead for Hauser. This could be a good night. 3, and it is. A monster slam by Jaylen Brown over Walker Kessler, and then the ninth 3 of the night for Sam Hauser. And suddenly, Celtics Nation can breathe easy.
That made it 112-104. Celtics would add another bucket after that and end up winning 114-108.
Whew.
John, how many minutes of that game did you watch last night?
I watched a lot of it. I did.
You watched all of it, didn't you?
Not all. I had to go get we were talking about this off the air. I had to go get my son at a
brothel?
Yes, that's right. It was
making a man out of the boy?
One of those deals from my tutor where you pay to make sure the guy's finished.
He fell
get
asleep.
It out of the way.
He was drinking out of that pint and
That's
fell
true.
asleep.
Yeah.
All right.
Where'd you have to
on a
pick him
bosom?
A place called the Beach House, which is a volleyball place near Natick. It's actually, Fred, it's right next to Frozen Ropes.
Oh.
It's at the end
in
of
the
that
warehouse
It's
district.
at the end of that street.
Yeah.
Warehouse district.
Well, no, it's a bunch of warehouses. It is like the warehouse district.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sleep in a storage container because I was using all my money on ladders and gear and belts.
The money didn't go toward the heroin. The money went toward like the spoons and the belts.
I was hoarding them. I was never satisfied.
If I couldn't have the drugs, at least I'd have the spoons.
Yes, I said, this was D.D. Ramone's spoon.
Kind of like
this was Kurt Cobain's spoon.
Collectible rigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one they used in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, allow me to get my monocle out.
Okay.
And make sure that this is legit.
All right.
They used to have me on Pawn Stars. They bring in Jazz Wallach. They say, this is the rig that gave the shot that killed. Name your heroin addict. And I come in and I take out my monocle and I put it on. Oh, let's see here. No, this rig's new. Throw it away. Oh, yeah, this is a 1967 Goldman rig.
Goldman?
Yeah, this is probably available in that time period.
I wish the audience could see Fred looking through a fake loop right now, examining the syringe and the spoon.
Jazz Wallach's loop. I wear it around my neck, so it's always available. Oh.
All right.
This is a good rig.
Okay. Next up for the Celtics, Oklahoma City tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
All right.
SGA.
My son is going to no expense to me. Is a friend taking him?
Nice.
Uh-huh.
That's the game to go to.
Yep.
Well, tonight at the Garden, the Florida Panthers come to town. Brad Marchand. I mean, is he officially rolled out, or is there just no way he's playing?
Apparently, there's no way he's playing.
No, he's not playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't heard anything.
No, he's hurt. He's gonna. I would assume that they don't play him until the very end of the regular season.
Everything you read within the last couple of days is that this is it. He's not going to show up until the middle of next month.
Yeah, there's a reason that they got what they got back for him. I mean, it's not like they didn't try. I mean, he had a no trade list, and then he is hurt, and so Because there's this notion that they only sent him like where he wanted to go, which I think is true, but I don't think that it was at the expense of other things. He had a no trade list, which was probably fairly extensive.
And he is your best commodity to trade. And you got more for Brandon Carlo than you did for Brad Marchand. That says a lot.
Yeah. Right. It's not, I don't think they just went, oh, yeah, we're going to trade. Because then you wouldn't have traded him at all. Like, if your whole notion was that you weren't going to get a good deal for him, then you wouldn't have traded. Then why wouldn't you just keep him if that was what you wanted to do? So, I mean, I think there was an awful lot of restrictions.
We heard the beginning of his press conference yesterday at the end of the show, and then later on in that session, he got a little choked up.
I do want to kind of clean up because I've seen the last few days just the narrative that's been going around. I want to kind of set the record straight. Like, I don't have any ill will towards the management group, towards Sween's Cam or Charlie. You know, I've had an incredible run in that organization, and I'm extremely proud. Just how things went there. Sorry.
Oh boy.
With the Canadians, with the organization, it's organization. Come on, Brad.
They spelled, center, CENTRE.
I know, that's so infuriating.
What is that about? Why do they have to spell it that way?
Yeah, and it's like you're speaking English too. I don't understand it. Why is it like that? And that's how
Canadian spin.
French.
Well, that's how you're supposed to spell Newton Center. Is that way, I believe.
Center Street in West Roxbury sometimes is spelled R-E. I've seen it spelled that way.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's very sexy.
Brad flat out asked, when are you going to play there, champ?
Yeah, timeline wise, I don't really know when I'll be back. I'm going to shoot to get back because it's always been something that I've taken a lot of pride in is trying to really limit the amount of games that I've missed and trying to push through whatever I can to play, and that won't change here.
Well, don't look for him tonight. Not on the ice.
No, the Bruins wouldn't have. I said this yesterday. Bruins wouldn't have sent him there if he was going to turn around and play against them 3 days later in their own building for the other team. It would have been something else.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, look, there's so much going on, obviously, with NFL free agency. We will get to all of that. We'll have a lot of fun with that. Andrew Callahan's in for the entire 8 o'clock hour. Don't think we didn't know it's 3/11, March 11th, which is also 311 is the name of one of the great Jamaican Nebraska bands of all time.
Chill.
Jamaica by way of Nebraska into L.A., which you notice they never claim Nebraska, but they claim L.A. quite a bit. Aye.
Whether in Jamaica or
in the Angel City. Got to trust your instinct.
Yeah, I'm going to use that one later. It's a good one.
Oh, this is in the pocket right here.
That's right.
I could slip away as it might come his.
Yeah.
So
he's got blonde hair.
We will do something related to it being 3/11 day.
All right. So it'll be very exciting. Here are the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots signed more than a handful of players yesterday on day one of the legal tampering period. Philadelphia defensive lineman Milton Williams, the big dog, 4 years, $104 million. He was not alone. Detroit defensive back Carlton Davis, Vegas linebacker Robert Spillane, Jets right tackle Morgan Moses among the players to sign with the Patriots yesterday. Chris Godwin, a Patriots target, immediately went back to Tampa Bay for 3 years. At TD Garden last night, Sam Hauser made 7 3-point shots in the third quarter, 9 for the game. He scored 33 points. Celtics held off Utah 114-108. They won 5 in a row. They host Oklahoma City tomorrow night. What's left of the Bruins play Florida at the Garden this evening. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7. You're on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Brad Marchand not expected to play for the visitors. And the Red Sox had yesterday off. They played Philadelphia in Fort Myers, Florida this afternoon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Service Credit Union. They've teamed with Charlie McAvoy again this season for 73 reasons to defend New England's first responders. Visit servicecu.org/73. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Headlines.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Of Fred Toucher's fandom, but just because former Jets quarterbacks on the move, and then the Jets themselves making some moves. We start here.
When Seattle trades Geno Smith for a third-round draft pick, they do so with the idea that they're going to have a clear path and a realistic chance to land a quarterback like Sam Darnold. You don't make that trade and think that you're not going to be able to land a guy like Sam Darnold. They get 8 years younger at the quarterback position.
Is that 311 song in the background? What is that?
I thought you were messing with it and putting 311 on the background. That did sound like that.
Schefter has a deal with 311 that he's allowed to use them for every video.
Yeah. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, as predicted by many, including you, Fred.
I just was repeating what was a fact.
No, that you did your own sourcing and digging on this, and you came up with the scoop that Sam Darnold would, in fact, sign with the Seahawks to replace Geno Smith.
Can I get a little bit of credit, though, for reading the email? A guy emailed me yesterday with the Rossini tweet that had Morgan Moses going to the Patriots, which he then took down.
We know. We talked about
and
that.
we talked about Morgan Moses, and I broke it down for everyone yesterday. I'm very familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to, but we did have that conversation yesterday.
Yes.
That was thanks to a listener. All right, go ahead.
All right. So what with the rumors swirling around that Aaron Rodgers could end up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wait a second. Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback for the Jets. Oh, they released him. Oh, the Jets need a quarterback. Who are they going to get?
Justin Fields is getting a 2-year, $40 million deal from the Jets. $30 million guaranteed.
When you look at why he would have chosen New York and not Pittsburgh, I think the fact of the matter is Pittsburgh did bench him last year. New York had a new head coach, a new GM, a new front office, and clearly they demonstrated that they wanted Justin Fields in New York.
Yeah, if I was going to take any of these quarterbacks that are available right now, you might as well go with Justin Fields. He's 26, and maybe he'll suck, but maybe he won't. The funniest thing that I heard on the way in this morning is people dogging Seattle and praising Vegas because Geno Smith might be better than Sam Darnold. Fine. Sam Darnold's like 11 years younger than him or something. And
up until the last two games that Sam Darnold played, Sam Darnold was unquestionably better than Geno Smith.
Yeah, and they got a third-round pick. So they got Sam Darnold in a third-round pick. You'd rather have Geno Smith than Sam Darnold in a third-round pick. Now, that might end up working out fine, but it's certainly not this, like, home run it was being presented like the Raiders have this home run. The Raiders aren't going to win any games next year. The Raiders they're just trying to get their house in order. In that division, they're not winning anything. That Raiders team is sunk. But somehow Geno Smith's 36 years old or something like that. Their coach is 73. I understand what they're trying to do, stabilize. Just stabilize, but who's going to win more games? Seattle, that was 10-7 last year, with Sam Darnold, or Vegas, who have two players, maybe a couple offensive linemen. Say they have 4 NFL caliber players on that team. This stuff is all silly. It's all so dumb. The draft is far superior. Give me the draft. This free agent, you know what it is? Malarkey.
Easy.
Well put.
The language.
And they got Sam Darnold for like a Baker Mayfield-esque contract, so big deal. I mean, he's your quarterback.
Is it malarkey what the Dolphins did?
Zach Wilson reached agreement with the Miami Dolphins to stay or return to the AFC East and back up Tua, get a chance to work under Mike McDaniel. We'll see how that works out. And we can just see it now, right? Zach Wilson's going to start against the Jets at some point.
I can see it now, too. That's fun.
There's a lot of humming and hawing and wooing and umming and awing. Listen to that.
Zach Wilson reached agreement with the Miami Dolphins to stay or return to the AFC East and back up Tua, get a chance to work under Mike McDaniel. We'll see how that.
We're going to see how many of his mom's friends he bangs down there, like he did so famously when he was with the Jets.
Why not?
And someone said I read someone was so excited because they had to be someone different than everyone else to see what Mike McDaniels can do when he gets his hands on Zachy Wills.
Yeah.
You know, because Zach Wilson's going to play.
Yeah,
probably play 10 games.
Yeah, Tua is going to get hurt.
So he'll probably he'll play 10 games.
Yeah.
So listen, what a story. Tyreek Hill can yell at him. Everyone will have the greatest time.
Well, there's another guy who's going to end up playing somewhere, but we just don't know if it will be via trade or if he will just end up being released.
Well, the Rams are going to release Cooper Kupp after the start of the new league year, assuming that no trade materializes. Maybe somebody will reach out and offer something nominal to the Los Angeles Rams for Cooper Kupp. We'll see whether that happens. They will release him. The legend of Cooper Kupp in L.A. is coming to an end, and it'll officially be over one way or another.
But will the legend really ever end?
No.
I mean, the legend will live on for generations.
Legends never die.
Yeah, we'll always remember Cooper Kupp's time.
Heroes, legends.
With the Rams.
Sure.
I mean, you can't forget about other things. I mean, who's ever forgotten about JoJo White?
Right. Good parallel.
Johnny Lamb Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Lamb Jones, I believe, was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And who could forget about him? Do you guys even know who Johnny Lamb Jones is?
Texas wide receiver.
Where did he play? Who took him number 1 in the draft?
I'm imagining the Jets the way you're setting this up.
Kaboom. Home run.
Yeah.
Home run pick.
JoJo White, number retired by the Celtics.
That's
Everyone remembers him. That stepping out of bounds in the tournament in the 60s.
You know what? I didn't know that Cedric Maxwell was on the 87 Celtics.
I think he was gone by then.
No,
I think he was. I think they traded him in '85.
Really?
I think so. Yes.
Maybe it was the '85 thing that I saw. But he was on. He was on a team I didn't think that he was on. You would know.
Yeah, he was going to trade it to the Clippers, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Let me see here. Cedric Maxwell, because I saw him on a team that I didn't believe that he would have been on. He was on the 85. You're right. 85. So maybe the 85 Celtics is what I was thinking of. There you go.
He was the guy they traded for Bill Walton.
Oh.
I believe.
Oh.
That is the case.
Hello. How do you do? All right. We will be back, and we will get into what the Patriots did yesterday, and we'll break it on down in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right. You got erectile dysfunction.
HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
A Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots got right to work yesterday as the NFL's legal tampering period began. Philadelphia Eagles defensive lineman Milton Williams was their biggest move of the day. He agreed to a 4-year, $104 million contract. Also coming on board were former Detroit cornerback Carlton Davis for 3 years and $60 million. The third leading tackler in the NFL last season, Robert Spillane, came for 3 years and $37.5 million. And former Jets starting right tackle Morgan Moses has agreed to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Patriots have also agreed to terms with backup quarterback Josh Dobbs for 2 years, former Buffalo wideout Matt Collins for 2, and defensive tackle Kyrus Tonga agreed to a 1-year, $2.7 million deal. Patriots missed out on wideout Chris Godwin. He immediately decided to go back to Tampa Bay for the next 3 years. Sam Darnold has signed a 3-year contract with Seattle. Justin Fields agreed to a deal with the Jets, and Zach Williams will now back up Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis were all out for the Celtics last night, but Sam Hauser came to the rescue. He scored a career-high 33 points, and the Green outlasted the last-place Utah Jazz 114-108 at TD Garden.
Honestly, I don't really know. It was just kind of a tale of two halves. Once you see a couple go in, the rim gets a little bit wider first year or so. You just try to keep letting it fly.
He made 9 threes in the win. Celtics have won 5 in a row. They play Oklahoma City at the Garden tomorrow night. The Bruins face Florida at TD Garden this evening. Brad Marchand not expected to play for the Panthers. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Red Sox had yesterday off. They play Philadelphia in Fort Myers this afternoon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Scoring the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
You haven't really done anything. I mean, other than improve the team at the margins, you'd like to think. And in the aggregate, when you add up all the money, you're going to be able to say they spent. I guess we're breaking news.
This is breaking sports news. Powered by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. On 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Per rap sheet on Twitter, Milton Williams to the Patriots.
So that is one. That's a big one. So that's going to stop me in my tracks.
This isn't 311.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Got to give it a little room to breathe.
Ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready?
Are you doing this because it's a white DJ? You think it's a cultural appropriation too?
People want to know when Mace, Posse, and Dave went. Still here, still in your ear with a style so hot, you'll see where all the sun.
My son texted me last night. He said De La Solar on the new MLB 25 game.
That's good.
Magic number. Listen, 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're Toucher and Hardy. We're on YouTube Live right now, and you can get in that cesspool. And you can also know that we've launched a new site, and we're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We've launched a new site dedicated to the offseason news and transactions impacting the Patriots and the NFL. Offseason.985thesportshub.com. And Barth's free agent trackers up there, all that stuff. Offseason.985thesportshub.com. That was Felger yesterday. They were, I don't know what happened. They were talking about they didn't spend any money, and then they spent money. So what have the Patriots done, Hardy? I don't know. You handle it, and I'll riff on your names.
I understand. And to Felger's point, up until that moment, yeah, they had been making some signings and some acquisitions, but without a left tackle and without a wide receiver. Now, we had talked a little bit about this yesterday, and we talked to Barth about it. We'll talk with Andrew Callahan about it a little bit later. Maybe it is, the blueprint or the game plan going forward. We're not going to be able to do everything we need to do offensively. You would think the left tackle is going to be important, but beyond that, there may not be a receiver out there that they view as reasonably priced or gettable and not when you have as much that you need to do on both sides of the ball. Fine, let's focus in on the defense and let's start there. But Felger's point was, yeah, you're going to be able to spend all this money. At the end of the day, you're not going to have a left tackle or a wide receiver to show for it. And it's only a day in, but right now, that part of his monologue holds true.
Yeah.
And it's not, I get it, not a ton of left tackles out there.
I would have liked one. I don't care if he was. You're right. Ever since they lost out on Ronnie Stanley, went back to Baltimore, the pickings were far slimmer. But there's nothing more important than protecting this guy, this kid, your franchise, the guy you got to make your cornerstone. And they didn't do it. That was the thing. I would have preferred overpaying a mediocre free agent tackle to what they did, which was nothing at the position.
So let's start with Milton Williams. That was the big one yesterday. The free agent Milton Williams, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles. We were discussing off the air. Played with some very good players with Philadelphia and probably benefited from that. It's a 4-year, $104 million deal. Third highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. Highest paid player in franchise history by AAV. He's 25 years old. We saw what the Eagles did this past season. 5 sacks over the regular season for Williams, 10 quarterback hits, 7 tackles for a loss. So Milton Williams joining the Patriots on that massive, in terms of what the Patriots spend, massive contract.
Yeah, Milton Williams had a success. He's a good. I understand what the Patriots are trying to do. They felt that there was no reason to go high on a receiver because there was no one worth it, and the offensive line pickings were pretty slim. So the idea is that we'll have it bulk up our defense and at least we'll hang around in games. And they have all the money in the world, so it doesn't matter. Milton Williams is only 25, so he's a guy that could conceivably grow with your team. I don't know. I wouldn't jump up and down and go, this is the answer, because, again, he played on a all-world defensive line, and he had a complete genetic freak in Jalen Carter next to him. So we'll see. We'll see how he operates when he's the man.
Also, you're not sure about the health of Christian Barmore. You don't know if you're going to have him back next season. So there is, and you just traded Devon Godchaux, so there's a need there. That also factored into it.
Yeah, and so they had so much cap money, and this isn't like when they got when they 3 years ago when they got the lineman Judon. Judon was older, and it was he was like a third deal or something like that.
Yeah.
You got a kid at 25. The Eagles can't pay everyone, so he broke free. I'm sure they would have still liked to have him. He makes your team better. I don't know if it's the most sensational thing that's ever happened. Some people had him as the best player in free agency. Some people had him as an F, which is what Sports Illustrated gave the sign. Mm-hmm. So who cares? Let's say it's right there in the middle. You got yourself a good player, and you overpaid for him, absolutely.
Yes.
But who cares?
Yes. You can't cry about them not spending it, and when they do spend, and even if it's an overpay, is it a position of need? Yes. Does he have success? Yes. Is he going to be able to be the effective all 3 downs without a ton of help on either side of him? Okay, we'll find out.
No, he won't, because he didn't play even half the snaps for the Eagles, and you got to rotate defensive linemen, and they're going to be in a position where they really can't. So no, he won't. I can tell you this: he will not be as effective. No, because a lot of these teams, it's like the 49ers method, that Saleh method of you're constantly rotating defensive linemen. That's what the Eagles did. He's not going to be able to. They don't have that kind of depth with the Patriots. So he's not going to be as effective on every down. He could put up bigger numbers as a result of playing more, but in terms of snap-by-snap effectiveness, it's just not going to be the same, you would think, because he just doesn't have that kind of experience, and that's just not the way it works.
Another signing the Patriots made yesterday in the secondary, veteran cornerback Carlton Davis, formerly of the Lions and Buccaneers. It's a 3-year, $60 million deal. He obviously spent time with Terrell Williams in Detroit last season. He's 6'1", 206 pounds. He'll play on the other side opposite Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah,
This
one was interesting to me because Carlton Davis is fine.
Yeah.
He's not, and he's a second corner. I'm kind of curious why they gave him.
Is he better than Jonathan Jones?
I don't know. Like,
I mean, they're letting Jonathan Jones walk out the door. Probably wouldn't have cost as much money.
Carlton Davis is like a professional corner, like a professional number 2 corner.
Okay.
I mean, he's a decent corner. He's not. It's just a weird thing in free. I think that this actually might. First of all, it could be 2 things. Maybe he's the greatest, and because you have a guy from the Lions coaching staff now, running your defense that. He would know more than anyone else, right?
No learning curve.
Right, no learning curve and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the Lions struggled in their secondary, and Carlton Davis was a part of that secondary, and they had to go out a year ago and draft a kid in the first round to play corner, and that was Arnold. That was their number 1 corner. Carlton Davis is a serviceable cornerback. It was a weird place to me to throw a dart in free agency of all guys. Look, when he broke his jaw for the Lions, it really hurt their defense. But they were missing everybody.
Yeah, and okay, so you break your jaw, obviously you're going to miss time, but he's missed at least 3 games in each of the last 4 years, which I don't love for any player, especially a cornerback.
Yeah.
How do you get that hurt playing corner?
It's physical, man.
It's not
throwing
that
his body around.
Yeah.
Is it?
Sure it is.
Corner?
Not if you're Sauce Gardner, then you just stand there and like.
In case Sean Booty catch a ball over your head.
It's a lot of games to miss for a corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So of course it is. It's a lot. It's a lot of games.
He's a happy guy though. He's rich.
Okay.
Good for him.
Robert
might have been a bit of an overpay too.
Robert Spillane, ex-Raiders linebacker.
And he doesn't need the money because his dad's a great mystery writer.
Indeed. Apparently, somebody texted me yesterday, and Zoe asked out loud on the air publicly if Spillane was an Hispanic name.
Okay. All right.
Let me find this. And this is from my buddy Dave. In case you ever miss your old show, just know that Zoe asked if the last name Spillane was Spanish.
Well, it ends with a vowel, so of course.
He's great. I'm so happy he works here.
It's certainly
yeah.
You can understand how one would make the mistake.
No,
it sounds very
not really
ethnic.
Zolek wanted to know if you wanted to interview him or not. So he needs to get a little background on the guy.
He's the best.
29 years old, 2-year starter in Vegas, 158 tackles.
That's 3rd in the NFL, by the way. Now, the numbers are skewed because the Raiders were a terrible team last year, so the defense was on the field for long periods of time.
And he was the only one tackling.
Yeah, but again,
well, that's okay. There was another guy who got a lot of tackles for the Raiders, but it was those 2.
Hey, I'll take a guy who makes a lot of tackles. If nothing else, he tackles people.
He's 29.
Yeah.
These are not the kind of guys that you. These aren't the kind of guys that.
I hear you preach.
The 29-year-old journeyman guys, I'm not overly thrilled with free agent signings. These are the kinds of things that seem like you're just signing guys to sign guys, but fine. I don't like that so much.
I think. Well, apparently Vrabel worked with him. He was with Tennessee first. I mean, again, familiarity there.
Yeah, I know, but it's just that you're stacking. You get a 25-year-old kid and you overpay, fine. You want to solidify things with younger players that great teams can't pay everyone. That's good. Is this going to be the difference between them winning or losing? No. But it's just these are the kind of signings that I always go on bad teams. I don't know. But fine.
I think there's such a dearth of talent, and you had guys that were hurt at linebacker last year. I think that you'll see less of Jelani Tavai and more of this guy. That's all.
I mean, fine. But I just wouldn't be running around spending my money on guys that are going to be 30 that when my team's going to blow.
When this team gets good, this guy we were just talking about is not going to be on the roster.
Right, and
I agree.
And I would have rather stacked the offensive line with a bunch of old dudes just to keep May upright than I would running around signing 29-year-old linebackers.
I would rather have overpaid that guy Morgan for Pittsburgh and average at best left tackle than spend money on that guy.
Yeah, it just is
absolutely.
It's just a position I don't know how in the long term this is going to help you. It's like some stopgap situation with an older dude.
We're probably going to devote some more time later on in the show to Mac Hollins. I think he's going to deserve some extra attention just based on some things that I found out about him last night from his time in Buffalo, where they did a kind of like a profile on this special teamer wide receiver.
He's at least fun. He's the one guy you can look at and go, he's the one guy you can look at and go, oh, okay, maybe that guy's interesting.
Free spirit. Yeah. So we'll devote some more time to him later. But
he wears fun costumes.
He wears costumes, and he doesn't wear shoes. On the field, of course, he has to. Oh, he's a big proponent of going barefoot all the time. All the time.
Did he ever step in mud?
There was one shot of him walking into the Bills facility in the snow
Stepping
and
on
ice,
rats?
wearing gloves but barefoot, like showing up for the game.
Yeah, it looked like Fred Flintstone that day. That was fun.
No, but there's another one where he's wearing.
Oh, he's
gloves.
wearing the white costume.
Yes, the white costume with the gloves
that, yes.
and barefoot.
I used to pause the Flintstones on Wilma's feet.
Wow.
Her.
More so than Betty's.
Her and Betty had
why
very tiny.
How can you tell?
Very small feet.
It looked like she almost had a deformity.
Oh, the bunion. You're a big fan of the bunion, are you?
All right. They did add a quarterback yesterday, Josh Dobbs, on a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
Fred, what does this mean for your boy?
No,
what does this mean for Joe Milton?
You're telling me everyone overrated Joe Milton?
Wait. No. What this means for Joe Milton is that you're going to have 2 first-round picks. Because this Dobbs signing allows you to jettison Joe Milton
okay.
to a team, a quarterback-hungry team. Because look at the Giants. They're sitting there with the number 3 pick in the draft.
Maybe we can get 3 and 4 in the first round.
And then you package them, and then you go up to 1.
Yes.
And that's what you'll do because Joe Milton for the Giants 3rd. And then now you're cooking with gas, and Josh Dobbs got you in the building. $4 million a year for Josh Dobbs. Have fun. What if they cut Joe Milton? Wouldn't that be a victory for me? Wouldn't I be the belle of the ball?
He's not going to get cut. They'll be able to get. They'll trade.
We'd have to get rid of that jersey in front of you.
No. Then I'll wear it every day, and I'll be like, ah ha 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 ha.
You'll say, aha.
Wear it to the games.
I'll Psalm 73 them or 70 them or whatever. Palm 70.
Palm 70.
Psalm 70.
Well, could be Palm.
Palm Pilot 7. Shut up, Wallach. Read the Bible.
I had to palm a 70-year-old one time.
And
he had to palm a 70-year-old?
Yeah, he was driving.
What does that mean?
He picked me up. I said, I need $50. And he said, you need to palm my 70-year-old. I reached over. I need the hair on, you understand?
Okay. Well, look, we just got to the surface of what the Patriots have done in that we've named pretty much everyone that they signed. Fluto Shinzawa is going to join us. We haven't talked to him since all the upheaval over there with the Bruins. We'll get his opinions on those matters because we would like to hear them in just a moment.
Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
First time I put my anything Panthers on was last night. I was FaceTiming my kids. We were.
We're Toucher and Hardy. Fluto Shinzawa is a senior NHL writer for The Athletic covering the Boston Bruins. He's kind enough to join us here when things go down with your hockey team. Fluto, hello, sir.
Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. We wanted to talk to you after the big day on Friday. You had, predicted some of this stuff, and you were in the camp that they needed to trade Marchand, correct?
Well, if we can just go back and rewind, I thought that Brad himself was too committed to the whole lifelong thing of being 2006 pick and then saying goodbye like Patrice, like David Krejci, and saying, okay, this is it. I thought that was going to be that important to him, that he would come down off whatever his ask was and that they would come to a deal. But then once it came to the situation where the deal was not going to happen, then yes, it was incumbent upon the organization to see if they can get an asset. Now you look at the asset that they got, it looks minimal compared to what the player meant, what the player was going to bring in terms of production, in terms of presence. So that's another issue. But yes, once it got to the point where an agreement was not going to take place, then the Bruins turned. And from what I understand, they put him out there, and they didn't just put him out there, they put him out there aggressively.
Okay, so what was the clash between Marchand and the Bruins? Have you any insight into what the kind of deal it was and what Marchand's camp was thinking?
Yeah, I don't know the particulars in terms of length of contract, in terms of total dough. It sounds like, and I'll acknowledge I misunderstood the situation at first. I thought there was a disagreement on term. It doesn't sound like that now, that it seems like they were willing to, and this part surprised me too, that the organization was willing to go to 3 years, just because, as we all know, 36 years old, and we all know Brad's style of play, and we know he's injured right now. So all those circumstances collide, and you stack them one on top of another and you try and predict, okay, just how much gas is left. And it's so hard to say. But I was surprised that it was a 3-year term was something that the team was willing to accept. That shows you just how much they value the leadership, the presence, just the aura and the effect that he has upon the team, upon his teammates. That's just so critical. And now you are so devoid of that in the room. So I guess that leaves it down to dough, and which is okay. If you're the player, you're probably looking at it and saying, okay, this is I don't care how long ago the deal was struck. Like that's a real good deal for the team for these last 8 years. So perhaps Brad is thinking, and you see the cap going up, and say, boy, did I put in my time? I've done my part for this team for so long. I would like some security in terms of financially going into the end of my career. And didn't happen, and they move on.
Okay, so we'll get to the other players in a second. So we see what the return some of the other players got, and Marchand's is, as you mentioned when you first came on, disappointing. I know he's hurt. What kind of factors went into the Bruins? And some people are speculating that they kind of like held his hand and were like, "Where do you want to go?" and then settled for that. Is any of that true?
Yes. They had their hands tied because of the 8-team no trade list, okay, and then B, the injury. Like they're still not sure that he's going to play in the regular season here before the playoffs, and we see the condition of the trade with 50% of the games in the first 2 rounds. So it's not a guarantee that he's going to play and play every day in the playoffs. So there's that, and that I'm sure that made some teams nervous too. And then 3, they wanted to do right by the guy. And okay, you can argue when you come to a trade, perhaps there's one side that says, okay, you got to be ruthless and try and get the best return out there. But then B, look where the next step is, or one of the next steps. It's going to be July 1. It's going to be free agency, and guys they talk a lot. And if word gets out there like, oh, this is a team that stabbed their captain in the back and dealt him to, I don't know, Anaheim just because they wanted the highest return, well, that might make some guys say, oh, I don't know, maybe I'd like to go to Toronto, for example, instead of Boston. So I think that was part of the thinking there. And again, there's so many years of service that Brad gave to the team, and you look at it and say, okay, you understand why the team was saying, okay, where would you like to go?
And just last point on Marchand, Fluto. What would be reasonable for him right now in your mind? Should he be at the year-to-year level that Chara and Bergeron got to? Should he be playing for significantly less than the $6 million a year he's making now? What would be reasonable for a team to pay him, or what would you pay him right now at this point in his career?
Max term, I think, would be 2 years, just because of everything. The style of play, the injury history, 36 years old, and we saw, and this is a hard thing to bring up, but let's face it, we saw at the tournament, like, there were times where it was just going a little bit too fast for him. Now that's very unique. You're never going to see that in NHL play. Like, he's settled back in after that, and he looked fine, but that's coming. So I think 2 years is probably, if you're a team, you're thinking, oh, I don't know about 3, maybe 2 at the money he's making, perhaps a little bit more. If he wants more, if he wants 3 years, then the money has got to come down just in exchange for that security. So year to year, I can understand why he didn't want to do that, and the team has a history of doing that with Patrice and with Zdeno. But I think Zdeno was 40 and 41 when that happened, so that's a bit down the road. Patrice was the same age, but yeah, 2 years I think is probably the safest.
I wonder, because there was the report that the Bruins offered him, what they offered him wasn't a reduction in pay, and I wondered if that was like some Patriots math that was going on. They said, he's making $6 million a year for 2 years on this other deal. We were going to give him 3 years at $4 million. That's the same money. It all adds up to 12. If they were getting cute with the numbers like that, but whatever it was, they couldn't agree.
Well, yeah, I think that some of that was bonus money. There's a lot to that. All right, so Carlo and Coyle, they move guys with term. What did you make of the return they got on those two?
Market value. Yeah, you look at it and say, okay, you understand why they did and got the return. First round pick, albeit was it 2025? I can't remember what year all these are. But the first round pick for Carlo, and the player Minton, who looks like he could develop into an NHL player. Maybe not for a year or two, but it looks like he's going to be a full timer. Coyle, you get back. When we saw Middlestad look pretty good in the one game. I think he had 17 minutes and change of ice time. Real nice play on one of the goals. So there's something there. And certainly not the defensive player like Charlie, not as strong, not as reliable, but 7 years younger and quicker, faster, more skilled. That's just what they need, right? More skill, more speed, more pace. Like, you look at what's the commonality of all the guys that got dealt. Razzo, Frederick, Coyle, Carlo. These are big, heavy guys, and it's just, you look at the overall picture of where the Bruins were this year, they just couldn't keep up at times. So you look at the return, and the question now is, okay, how can they accelerate this rebuild around 88, 73, number one? And these picks aren't going to help for a while. So where does that point you to? Free agency. Now, it didn't go so well last year, so they've got to be better come July 1st, but I would expect them to be aggressive.
Is Boston a destination? We were just talking about this. Do you think Boston's a destination? If there's a tie, if both Boston and another team are offering the same amount of money in free agency, do you think that the Bruins would win this coming summer?
Not if it's Buffalo.
Well, it's just not as automatic as before, where guys would say, "Oh yeah, look at I've heard so much about Marchand and Bergeron and all these guys, and even this past summer, Pastrnak, McAvoy, and they got this kid in goal who's going to be an ace." But you can't say that now. So if a player's objective is to win and be competitive, then it's not so much of a slam dunk. Now, where does it usually come down to? It usually comes down to money. So I would expect them to spend to the cap yet again. So the money will be there, but then you also bring in the tax situation too, which has become so prevalent now. Like we saw with Dallas now, with Rantanen. Like that's a big deal for that guy. Florida, competitive always. Tampa Bay, always competitive. That's an issue. So big picture, not an automatic if a player has options.
Okay, so obviously they have pieces here. They're, a team that could compete for the playoffs, and with the right moves, it doesn't seem like it has to be a complete teardown, and you have multiple picks in some of these drafts, multiple first-round picks, I think, not this year, next year. You could move some picks and make some trades. In your opinion, if they do this relatively well, is there a chance this is a playoff team next year?
That's tough. Right now, no, just because you don't have any NHL players and you don't have any inbound. Like that's like one of the big. Can't say it's a big deal compared to what else happened on Friday, but also on the same day they put Patra back in the American League, and you look at the numbers. That's where he belonged. He's not an NHL player, but the fact that you had to send him down to Providence twice this year, that's not good for the guy's development, and it's not his fault that he wasn't ready. But he's a warrior. He's a serious kid. What is he thinking now that he's been down to the minors twice? Well, his confidence is shot, and this is a player that you're depending on to be a possible top 2 center. So this has not been a good year in terms of his development. Now Lori looks like a player, but beyond that, no help coming. So yes, these are maybe they trade some of these picks at the upcoming draft for players, and it certainly looks like they're going to open the checkbook and get more players. But you need like 33% of that opening day roster is gone in all these trades. Joan, Brazo, Frederick, Marchand, Carlo, Coy. That's like I don't care. Prospects, young. You always say, "Oh, play the kids." Well, they don't have any kids.
Wow. Okay.
And they need NHL players, and they need a lot of them.
Yeah, it's it's the way they've been doing business, and they were a very good team for.
They were
going to
have to pay the bill eventually, and here we
It caught
are.
up to them. It absolutely caught up to them.
Yeah, now they're paying the bill. All right, Fluto, I could have talked to you for another half hour, but I imagine you have things to do. Fluto, read them in The Athletic. Fluto, it's always a pleasure. Always love having you on. Thank you so much.
You got it, guys. My pleasure.
One thing I love about Fluto is there's no frilly words.
I love it.
They're not good. They aren't going to be good next year. This is where we are.
I love them.
They need NHL players, and they need a lot.
They have They don't have enough NHL players on the roster.
He knows what he's
like
talking
that.
about,
Yeah.
and he delivers the information. Frankly, and I do enjoy that. All right, look, Andrew Callahan's going to be in for the entire 8 o'clock hour. We've talked about sports nonstop. There's something way more important going on. It's March 11th, and that means let's talk about garbage bands. Be real, that's for you. Your band that you love sucks so badly.
Chill.
Such a reflection on your poor taste as you continue to text this morning. We will be right back. Here are the headlines.
Roger.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider. Cultural appropriation I think I've ever seen. And they're nice. I mean, I always have to say this, is that I've had to interview them, of course, 155 times. And they were always very nice.
Yes, always. Great guys and good to the fans and good to radio. And yeah.
Peanut was very good.
Yep.
Very good to me. But let's face it, they are exceptionally corny. When I was in high school, I forget what the home video was. Maybe it was called Homebrew or something. And we used to play it and just like
the old VHS, yeah.
Sitting around laughing because they would be like, "Oh yeah, I got that weed, got that ganja," and we'd be like, "Wow, that's a whole misdemeanor in that pipe right there. Look at you, you bad boys." So, what is the game we're playing today in honor of March 11th?
Well, you got me thinking about these bands like 311 that, mishmashed a whole bunch of different styles and incorporated turntablism and DJs into their music. And if you look at that late 90s, early 2000s era, there were a lot of bands like that. So,
these bands are all turntable-y. Whoa. Listen to the DJ scratchy.
So what I'm going to do for Fred and Hardy, I'm going to give each of you names of the DJs from these late 90s, early 2000s bands, and you have to name the band that they're from. I'll give you the DJ's name, a little bit of identifying information. And John Wallach, if you could keep score, I'd appreciate that.
Sure, I got you.
And they will... Some of them I think will be easier than others, so if you do find yourself stumped on one, you can call John Wallach as your lifeline. And when you call for Wallach, you get the sound of the ass clapping. That is the lifeline sound.
And that's really an ass clapping.
It absolutely is.
Wow.
Yeah, John, stand up. Let's see what's doing.
Could you? I don't
you
know.
can.
I don't know if you have time.
That is.
I have that.
And listen to that. I mean, that really pushes things over the top right there.
Yeah.
Shush! It really makes the song.
Anytime that they acted serious, and of course, the famous drunk interview with me and Incubus is available anywhere you have YouTube. You can find that. Any one of you could do what that guy just did. And anytime that Incubus acted like they were serious artists, then you could just go, "Oh, at what time did the label tell you to put a DJ in your band?"
We sometimes play
conversation of
Gandalf
sorts.
or Incubus. At sometimes.
That's right. Sometimes.
I can't believe that's your voice.
He handled it very well. Yeah, time's not been kind to me. So, by the way, like DJing is matching beats. It's very technical, very difficult. Just making a scratching noise.
Yes, go on.
Is very, very simple. Any one of us could do it. Anyone out there could do
We were
it
talking
too.
about it in the post-show meeting yesterday.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, Hardy, this is DJ Lethal.
Oh, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, well, geez, I mean, come on now.
I knew that because you know why?
Just think about it.
Because you thought about it. See, you took what Fred
Lethal
said, you see, and he turned it into a little scratch there. You see, that's what DJ Lethal did.
DJ Lethal wanted to kick my ass and was telling everyone that he was coming to the station to beat me up when I was in Atlanta. And I waited around like an idiot for like 4 hours for him to come beat me up. And he
didn't show up?
never arrived.
You know what? And just a point of order, Your Honor, I don't think there's any chance in hell that he was actually scratching on that recording. That just sounds like... Pro Tools magic.
Well, he wasn't scratching
Well,
a record.
a lot of these DJs, it's not just about the scritchy scratch; it's about the production work that they did in the studio.
Okay,
so, and sometimes adding in layers and sounds and soundscapes, which actually brings us to this next DJ, Frank Delgado. Featured on this band's first two albums, but really joined the band full time on their
Daniel's
breakthrough. That's right.
Oh,
that's on their breakthrough 2000 album. Who is Frank Delgado?
You just reminded me. I have something at 8:00 very quickly with Andrew Callahan.
Okay,
I have to do.
Okay,
maybe I'll do it at 9.
Okay,
I'll have to remind myself.
So Frank Delgado.
Well, I'll give him credit. He does. That's a spicy name. His dad owns the pastrami shop. I have no idea. I don't know any of these bands.
Do you want to steal this one, Hardy?
Or you can go to Wally.
I'm embarrassed because I don't want to say because
No,
I'm
this
not
is
sure.
your turn.
I'm not
You
sure
can't
if
go to
this
me.
band had a DJ ever.
If they're horrible, they probably did.
No, it's
can't
not a
hurt-
horrible
It
band.
can't hurt to guess, Hardy.
Is it a horrible band?
No, they're actually a very good band.
I thought it was Deftones.
It is Deftones. That is correct. Yes, so
I
Deftones
still,
are-
I still question why the Deftones needed to have a DJ.
That's why I was second guessing myself. But Frank Delgado, I thought I remembered Deftones, but I'm like, every Deftones song I like doesn't have any DJ or scratching in it.
I'm telling you, the label told them, like, you need to have a DJ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I guarantee, because, like, a lot of these bands didn't have DJs until they went on majors, and then they were like, every band has a DJ, and you got to have a DJ.
But
Stupid.
Delgado's definitely more of the soundscapes guy than the wiki guy. That was.
Did he play turntables on stage?
Occasionally he does, yes.
Yeah, okay, well, then that's horrendous.
So we'll this is actually to Hardy, even though Hardy got that one. This one goes to it was Fred's turn and Hardy stole. This is Sid Wilson, Hardy. Who is Sid Wilson? Also known as DJ Starscream. And actually, fun fact.
I have a guess.
The partner of and has a child with Kelly Osbourne.
I have a guess.
I'm going to my lifeline here with.
Oh,
Wallen.
No.
Well, no, but it's Hardy's turn. He has to guess.
And I haven't used my lifeline yet.
All right, his lifeline here. So bring in
All right.
John Waller.
Who is it? Who is this guy?
This is it's Sid Wilson is the name of this.
It's Frank Wilson.
This band DJ.
It's my accountant's kid.
I don't know. Slipknot.
No.
Jeez, I have no idea.
Absolutely right. It's Slipknot. I think John Wallach has more.
Whoa!
Wow!
Slipknot have a DJ?
Yes, and he wears a gas mask. It's
I have
wild.
no idea. All right.
Why would? Because why wouldn't they? They got 9 other guys in the band.
I don't
so.
even think Slipknot's that bad a band.
I just think they're
you know what?
one of the funnier bands.
Well, yeah, of course they're ridiculous, but sneaky good 3-minute pop rock songs.
Yeah, I think what's his face is kind of talented.
Corey Taylor.
I was gonna guess
Yeah.
Crazy Town. No, seriously.
That's a
'cause
good-
It sounds like a label guy's kid.
Well, the
His
name.
Sid.
What's his DJ name?
He's DJ Starscream. When he's not in Slipknot, he's over in Japan playing house music as DJ Starscream.
Okay, all right.
Let's give you each one more. Fred, Joe Hahn is the DJ.
Linkin Park.
Okay, well you know that one. Good with. I mean, listen to this.
There's no need to. You could have put this effect in the song without traveling around with a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, one more for Hardy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Hardy, this is a tough one, but I think you can get it. DJ Bobby B DJ'd for this particular collective that you probably brought on stage at one point in time when you were working in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They're not from Albuquerque, but they're from that general area.
Funk Junkies?
DJ, that is...
Do
you want to steal? That's incorrect, first of all. I'm sorry.
Cottonmouth
That's
Kings?
right, the Cottonmouth Kings.
I just
That's
guessed.
absolutely right. The
Who is it?
Cottonmouth Kings. DJ Bobby B.
Cottonmouth Kings were able to tour because people were impressed that they rapped about weed.
And
and they were white.
And you remember too, their drummer, Lou Doggy had the Lou Rider. Do you remember his drum kit was built
I
into
never
a
saw
Mongoose
them.
tricycle?
Okay,
it was an '83 Mongoose 3-wheel bike that he built a drum kit around.
Let me tell you something. In terms of like going to a show and having fun watching a band, you could do a lot worse than Cottonmouth Kings.
Yes,
Agreed.
They're atrocious. Guess who? Guess who was in the Cottonmouth Kings? The bass player for the Descendants on the Enjoy album was in the Cottonmouth Kings for a period of time.
That's wild trivia.
There you have
John Wallach, what was the final score for this one?
I had it tied.
Yeah,
I had two.
it was 105.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
we each stole one.
We all lost. Let's be honest.
And Wallach came through both times.
That's the biggest upset of the day.
You know why? Is because if you play an ass clapping,
That's right.
that
Focus.
that engages his good ear,
Well, happy 3/11 day to everybody.
and then it gets his left side of his brain, which died in the surgery, going. And there you have it. All right, Andrew Callahan will.
Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
This week, FanDuel is bringing you a.
Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots got things started quickly yesterday on day one of the NFL's legal tampering period. One of the top free agents on the board, Philadelphia defensive lineman Milton Williams, agreed to a 4-year, $104 million contract to come to Foxborough, and he was not alone. Former Detroit defensive back Carlton Davis agreed to a 3-year deal. Vegas linebacker Robert Spillane, a 3-year contract. And Jets right tackle Morgan Moses, a 3-year contract as well. Also, the Patriots assigned backup quarterback Josh Dobbs, Buffalo wide receiver Mac Hollins, and free agent defensive tackle Kyrus Tonga. Patriots missed out on wide receiver Chris Godwin. He immediately decided to go back to Tampa Bay for the next 3 years. Sam Darnold signed a 3-year contract with Seattle, and the New York Giants had just signed a top safety on the board, Javon Holland, to a 3-year, $45 million deal. At TD Garden last night, Sam Hauser made 7 3-point shots in the third quarter, and he wasn't done either.
Celtics by 5, hand the ball, lead for Hauser. This could be a good night. 3, and it is.
That is Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Hauser scored a career-high 33 points in a 114-108 win over Utah at TD Garden. Celtics are 5-1 on their homestand. They face Oklahoma City tomorrow night. And what's left of the Bruins will play Florida at the Garden tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7. Here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Brad Marchand not expected to play for the visitors. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day this Sunday and Monday at the Nines. Enjoy the traditional corned beef and cabbage dinner with a Lucky Horseshoe Ale. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston Tone for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update is 8:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Some major breaking news for the New England Patriots. A splash in free agency, sources tell me and colleague Mike Garafolo. Milton Williams, the biggest free agent on the market, is now off the market. I am told he gets a massive deal, over $26 million per year.
That's John's fantasy of having a woman clap her butt on his face while he suffocates.
Still sitting down.
Yeah. All right. We're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Watch us on YouTube Live. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub and subscribe. Andrew Callahan is the Patriots. Patriots, not the. He has partners. He's a reporter and columnist for the Herald. Thank you for joining us. You're back in studio. Thank you. You're working currently. You're not off the clock. Things could happen. So thank you for joining us. It's very big of you. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Let's go down and talk about what the Patriots did. Let's go player by player, shall we? As I keep losing everything. Okay. Jesus Christ.
What?
The internet is
We
just
can stall
awful.
for you if you need.
No. I don't need you to. All right,
Okay.
Look. Milton Williams, they gave him a lot of money, $104 million. He's a defensive tackle. He's only 25, so that's good. He's rotational tackle. He's never started over 50% of the snaps or played 50% of the snaps in a game. He was on a very good defensive line, but he was electric. What is your theory on Milton Williams? I've seen him, just for your edification, graded everywhere from an A to an F. The Sporting News gave it an F. Many people have given it an A. And that, to me, is polarizing, and it's fun. Andrew Callahan, your thoughts?
I'm down the middle. I gave Milton Williams a B because I think if you get an A, you got a great deal and a great player. And I don't look at this contract that makes him the third highest paid defensive tackle in the league and the highest paid Patriot ever. Finally broke that Brady record from 7 years ago, $25 million a year. Milton Williams is at 26 and go, he's likely to live up to that. Now, that's part of free agency, and that's fine. The issue for me is Milton Williams has never played half of the defensive snaps in a single season.
It just said it.
Right. He's often played 100 more. I can go back to working. This is cool.
If you're going to come in here expert away, don't repeat what I just said. Go ahead.
So he's played a slanted number of pass rushing snaps over run defense in Philadelphia, which I don't think is an accident. When you look at his run defense grade for PFF, it's pretty bad. The upside is the reason he got $104 million, which Fred is over 4 years, which is $26 million, and he's, has never played more than half the defensive snaps, is the fact that he's an outstanding pass rusher who's 25, an athletic freak, and has developed. So to me, look, this was the only way they get the talent in the building, is to overspend. And you saw this when reports come out yesterday, he's close to the Panthers, and an hour later, no. The Patriots have come over the top to give him more money than anyone expected. And you know what? For one of the best free agents available and the best defensive free agent available, fine by me. You got him in the building. This is the only way out.
You think he's better than Josh Sweat?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. That's, because it doesn't really matter, but that it's some debate on that. All right, so here we go. We continue on. They have Milton Williams in the building. They paid him a lot of money. He's 25. You can't argue with that. They're better with him on the team. Then a curious move as Carlton Davis, a cornerback from the Lions. The Lions actually upgraded that position. They let him go, and they got DJ Reed, who's a better corner. But you would agree with that, right? DJ Reed's better corner.
Yeah, DJ Reed, a better corner.
Yeah. But he's not a number one corner. But listen, they let him go, and Carlton Davis comes here. It was interesting to me in that he's 28. They already have an elite corner. It seemed like a weird position to invest in free agency. Obviously, there's connections with the Lions and the current coaching staff. So what did you make of that signing?
I like the signing. I didn't love it. And part of it is Carlton Davis has averaged 4 missed games each of the past 4 seasons. So this is a guy you just can't count on to be available 25-30% of the year.
We talked a little bit about that earlier. In terms of
to get used to it, this is
and sometimes
thing.
it's a broken jaw, which you can't
Okay, the broken jaw you don't fault him
Right.
for, but should you be missing that many games at corner?
It depends on how hard you play. And I think this is part of the attitude Mike Vrabel's brought in and say, I want MFers to come in here who just hit without any kind of care, which isn't to say the Patriots didn't have guys who hit last year or the year before for that. But the point is, he wants guys like him who say, I'm taking no bleep. I'm coming after you, snap after snap after snap. And so Carlton Davis is not a ball hawk. He's had 1 season with more than 2 interceptions in 7-8 years in the league. But he's a guy that you can reliably count on to play press man coverage. And opposite Christian Gonzalez, the Patriots are positioned now to play man coverage as often and almost as good as any other team in the league. And that's a real benefit.
Yeah, it's just the age I thought was kind of strange because you're not going to be any good while he's on this team. But regardless, they had a ton of cap space. It doesn't put you in any kind of jail. Now we start getting funky because, look, we're just tripling down on defense. Let's bring in Robert Spillane, who's old and okay. And why? Why? And I'm not even making fun of it. It's just why. Why bring in a 29-year-old decent linebacker?
So if you just looked at the box score, you'd be like, oh, my God, I'm all in. 158 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 picks, pass deflections, a forced fumble last year for Vegas. But Vegas, now with a new regime, granted, says, we're good. Because Robert Spillane had 2 full healthy seasons the past 2 years, hit free agency and really cashed out. My issue is not only that he's 29, Fred, but he's like whiter, slimmer Juwan Bentley. When you watch his tape, he's a downhill player. He's a sure tackler. He's smart, but he gets picked on a little bit in coverage. He was better last year, granted, but I don't think he's getting more athletic once he comes to New England. This fits again, like we talked about Carlton Davis, guys who don't take any bleep, fit Vrabel's culture, and Vrabel started with Spillane, both of their rookie seasons in a certain respect. Vrabel's a head coach in Tennessee, and Spillane is an undrafted rookie. He bounces around to Pittsburgh and then Vegas again. I just look at this and go, he's a better player than most of the guys on the Patriots roster. Talent's good. I just think the overlap for me is a bit of an issue with a guy you already have in the building in Bentley.
Okay, and we'll get to the big picture, but I do want to go, because we have you in here and we love you so much, we want to go, let's go player by player because it's fun. They bring in Carlton Davis. All right, what did you make of the Harold Landry? I know there's that connection there. What did you make of the Harold Landry signing that they did a little earlier?
Not a huge fan. There is a connection, though, there. Harold Landry, Mike Vrabel. Fred's zoning out again.
No.
Just trying to repeat more of his expert analysis.
Oh, boy.
Boy,
Jesus, are you under the gun? You are all feisty today because in case they sign someone while we're on the air. I don't think I see that.
I was
compensating.
Callahan was a wet blanket. Landry has, 25, 30 sacks in the last 3 years, and he was the first to tweet out, but he only had a pass rush win rate of 4.8%.
Last in the league last year among guys who pass rushed
9 sacks last year, didn't he?
Okay, but I don't know what a good percentage is.
Good question. About 13, 14.
Oh.
That's like tops of the league.
Well, that's less than.
That's
isn't
bad. Yeah, that's about a third of that.
Yeah.
About a third of that, yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is with Harold Landry, just
You're
like
really
Robert
sticking with that.
Spillane,
Jesus
we got a culture fit. He's a better player. You upgraded a certain position, and I don't really care about the money as much, $43.5 million over 3 years, and he'll get less than that. It's just I don't see that most valuable skill, the pass rushing, suddenly getting a rebound here in New England when he's going to be a premier guy for them to generate some pressure. And when you do that less than 5% of the time last year, despite the sacks, because I guess every quarterback in the world was holding onto the football longer than anyone when they played Tennessee, it's a little bit of an issue.
Did they sign him because Vrabel knows him and likes him?
Yes, and they had a need outside linebacker like everywhere else. So again, it's an upgrade. I'm just not looking at Harold Landry, who starts for a last place Titans team the last few years, and being like, defense fixed. And that's fine. You were looking for upgrades. They got one. I gave them a C in my grades yesterday for the Herald.
Okay, so interesting. They bring in that now they go a little offense, and they bring in Morgan Moses. Now, this is what's interesting. Morgan Moses is a right tackle. I like Morgan Moses. He is a tough guy. He's old. He's 34. He's a tough guy. He is okay. But here's my concern if I'm the Patriots. Is that the Jets' offensive line, Morgan Moses was a Jet. The Jets' offensive line is pretty good, but they don't have a right tackle, and they let him go, and they could have afforded him. That is a little bit of a red flag for me with institutional knowledge, like the Jets had, because there's no reason they couldn't have re-signed him. And I like Morgan Moses, and I know why you signed him, and I don't have a problem with it. What was your thought on that?
So Morgan Moses is actually the signing yesterday that grew on me the most, which might have been just the malaise of staring at my laptop for 14 hours. But the Jets also have Olo Fashanu, as you know, who could plug in at right tackle. To me, this says the Jets have more confidence. They'll re-sign Tyron Smith, who is a very good left tackle, a little bit older than Moses, but also a better player.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he's still available, and they still need one.
Yeah, he's also on the side of the road needing a lot of fixing, but yeah, okay.
Yes. So Morgan Moses, you mentioned it, 34. He actually had a better season last year by certain metrics than Dan Moore Jr., who gets this 4-year, $82 million deal. That was the Patriots' plan C after Ronnie Stanley and Alaric Jackson, who come off the board in free agency. You can't sign guys who never hit the market. They never did. So you're looking at Morgan Moses or Dan Moore Jr. And again, setting aside the money, but Morgan Moses got something like 30 million fewer guaranteed. He's making 12.5 million fewer per year. And if he was better last year, who's to say he can't be in the ballpark of the guy that Tennessee just made their franchise left tackle, even though every Steelers fan would go, he stinks. So I think the Patriots know what Morgan Moses is. He's a stopgap guy who knows his role. He's tough. He's a professional. You can set it and forget it.
Great locker room guy.
The only worry is, as you said, he's 34. So with Dan Moore Jr., there's no worry about his performance just falling off a cliff like we saw 2 years ago with 34-year-old Riley Reiff. And here comes Morgan Moses, who's better than Reiff was, who at the time before coming to New England couldn't even start for the Bears. Moses does 14 games for the Jets, plays through a lot of injury. So I think it's a better signing, not just because of the money, but who he was last year. The age, obviously, though, is a big concern.
Yeah, but you needed a guy, and I like that Morgan Moses signing. I think I
do too.
He's a really good guy. He's good for culture. All right, here's a guy I know nothing about. Mac Hollins, a receiver from Buffalo. I know he's a bit of a character. I know that foot fetishists around the world enjoy his lack of shoes. What about Mac Hollins? Why Mac Hollins? Not a lot of money, but what's the deal?
So Doug and I reported last week, 2 weeks ago, how long has it been since the Combine, that the Patriots were all in on T. Higgins, comes off the board of the franchise tag, really want Chris Godwin, but they doubted he would ever leave. Chris Godwin doesn't. So then they're out on Stephon Diggs, out on Amari Cooper, which leaves then like Darius Slayton, who I would have grabbed yesterday. They don't, whatever. Mac Hollins is a guy who had a career year in 2022 with Josh McDaniels in Vegas. close to 700 yards, something like 5 or 6 touchdowns. He had 5 or 6 touchdowns last year in Buffalo with Josh Allen because he's a big-bodied red zone target. Guys also love him because of what you just mentioned, the character part. Not just in terms of, he's a wacky guy who goes around shirtless in Buffalo and walks around barefoot, but he's an exceptionally hard-playing, tough player that coaches love on special teams and when run blocking. So for a team that clearly is not going to make a living doing anything else but playing defense and running the football, this is the kind of guy you want. If there's a coach that could revive that old Matt Collins of 3 years ago who gets somewhere, again, 600-700 yards, he's in the building. So they're hoping on the McDaniels connection to bring it back a little bit.
Have you heard the audio from that the interview and the profile piece they did on Hollins when last year with the Bills?
No, I don't know anything about him.
You should.
We'll
listen to it.
We can listen to it. All right, and finally, real quick, because it's not that big a deal, and then we'll get to the macro when we come back. They signed Josh Dobbs. The only reason now he's played for every team, but the thing that is interesting about this is it tells me trade chip. Let's trade back into let's get 2 first-round picks. Let's have another because we're moving Joey Milton. Where are we at? What's this Josh Dobbs signing mean?
Might be a second. I don't know.
You're so well, okay, Felger. All right, go ahead. What's the deal? Why Josh Dobbs?
Wallach just called me a wet blanket. I'm getting tired of the Joe Milton trade talk. I got to be honest.
Please stop.
I think trades and quarterbacks are a lot of fun. This is a guy who was a 6th-round pick last year, played a preseason
you
game
turned
in
that
January,
into a first.
Played very well. two firsts, yeah. If he stays or goes, it does not change the trajectory of the 2025 Patriots.
No, it's just funny.
But,
I'm being funny.
Here's the thing. Josh Dobbs, I think, could exist in this room as the Patriots had it constructed last year. You have May and Milton and then a veteran. They were like Jacoby Brissett, no thanks. We're moving on. They signed a guy that they know. Vrabel was with Dobbs in Tennessee for one of his 10 different teams. And they could also operate with trading Joe Milton. So I think it gives them flexibility. An adult in the room who's obviously a very smart guy. They call him the Pastronaut for a reason. And I think it's a solid signing. But that money, the guarantee he got, I think it was $3.5 million. Let's say he completely bombs in training camp, is not enough to keep him on the roster. So there's a lot of different options here. I think that was the point of signing Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, it's not ever a bad idea to have a veteran backup, and Dobbs is, like you said, a true professional. All right, let's get to the macro when we come back. Why the certain side of the ball that they did, what that means for this team going forward, what it means for the draft. We have an expert analyst who is, if he runs out of the room, don't worry. It just means that there was a huge signing that he has to cover. We'll be back in just one moment.
The tinny?
Yeah,
it's completely tinny.
Yeah, I don't know. That's strange.
Hold on, let me.
I think that you short-circuited
I think
things.
it's what's even stranger is that you kept talking and didn't immediately say, "Whoa, what's going on?"
I wanted to finish my point.
Old timey Wallach. I like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened is that
What's going on
computer in his head that is making the one ear go to the other ear is now shorted the microphone.
Weird.
All right, you want to...
Three of us are on
That's
FM.
the
One is on
analysis.
AM.
Yeah, exactly, right? All right, this sounds like EEI when we came on the air. All right,
Could you
go
do me a favor? Say, I saw you on the TV back in '52.
No, that mic doesn't work at all.
Yeah, that's just
that one's just down.
That's ornamental.
All right, well, John, we're gonna have to figure this thing out.
Come on over.
Wait.
Hey,
Is that better?
there we
Yeah,
go.
I fixed it. I did.
Great job by you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. All right, so the Patriots spent a lot of money yesterday, but it was on the impact moves. Really, were on the defensive side of the ball. Certainly, Morgan Moses is going to start at right tackle. That's great. I like Morgan Moses, but you went in thinking, okay, you got to protect Drake May and you got to get him weapons. They did neither. What is the reason? Let's just start with this. What is the reason you think they went in all in defensive yesterday?
The top reason, far and away, is that that's who was available because they were ready to throw a big bag at Ronnie Stanley. They did so at Chris Godwin. Reports from the NFL Network, Godwin passed up $20 million extra to remain in Tampa Bay. Can't do much better than offering a guy $20 million more than somebody else. Patriots didn't work. So they have to pivot. And when you looked at the market, as we talked about, it was really Dan Moore Jr. or Morgan Moses, as they saw it. Cam Robinson plays left tackle, but this is a guy who was traded last year in a late-round pick swap, not even straight up for a sixth-rounder. Plays in Minnesota, gives it the more pressures than anyone else in the league. No problem passing on Cam Robinson. So really it was who's available on the market. And that's not to absolve the Patriots of still having, for a third year in a row, a need at left tackle and number one receiver. It's to say those guys don't get to the market. And I asked this to Elliott Wolf in September going, hey, you still need this. What are you going to do if you get to free agency and they're not available? And soon after that, CeeDee Lamb gets a contract extension. Brandon Ayuk had just gotten his new deal, et cetera, et cetera. He goes, well, I think we're going to try to sign elite players and we'll just kind of see who's there. We saw. And so that's why I had been advocating for a DK Metcalf trade. And it's a little more complicated because, A, he did not want to be here. Confirmed that with someone with the team yesterday. Valley did not. And they had some, serious character concerns. But if we're going to make him the highest paid player in the organization, it's a lot of power. Do we want to give that to him? They didn't know. Well, they didn't get the chance to. But to me, you can't go into the draft now still having to address both. You did that last year. It didn't work out. You got the quarterback. That's great. These are two big, important positions to rely on rookies to deliver in year one.
All right, so you were at the Combine. Here we are. It's the draft. First of all, this as the Patriots have the fourth pick, do you think there's any way Shedeur Sanders goes before the Patriots pick?
I don't personally.
Yeah, neither do
But I also trust the opinion, knowing, granted, folks use people like Adam Schefter for favors or leverage. We did the whole Mac Jones is going at number 3 to the 49ers a few years ago, and everyone was saying it. I just said, that doesn't make sense. I don't believe this. He's pretty convinced Shedeur Sanders is going to go that high, and the Patriots will have a shot at Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. If you're a Patriots fan, that's all you should be rooting for.
Okay, so if now that you haven't gotten a left tackle and you haven't gotten a receiver, obviously you take Abdul Carter if he's there. But if Travis Hunter's the guy, is Travis Hunter who you take and play him at receiver because of the talent? And do you think he's a number one receiver, or at that point, is there enough talent at offensive line where you take the best offensive lineman available?
So it broke my heart at the Combine to see Will Campbell come in with T-Rex arms in a way that is just historically bad, which I'm sure you guys have talked about. So I'm off the Will Campbell at 4 train. I would take Travis Hunter at this point. Whether he's a number one receiver or not, he's close enough. He's better than Teteroa and McMillan. Like that.
You said it.
Yeah, I did.
Is he better, though? He is better at receiver.
He's just, like, the simplest way is also, sounds the stupidest, but you just watch him and go, he's a natural. Like, the flexibility and the ability to decelerate and accelerate at that frame is just unbelievable. Like, this guy was handcrafted to play football and do these things, and his ball skills are better than anyone in the draft at any position. It's not close. He's exceptional. So, yeah, I would take him.
Okay, so you're hoping that obviously Shedeur Sanders comes off the board and that you have a chance at Travis Hunter. Say he's off the. Say what happens, we think happens, and Shedeur Sanders is not taken by the Cleveland or the Giants, and you're at number 4, and those are off the board. You've already said you don't like Will Campbell. You're not going to be able to trade the pick most likely. What do you take it for? You're stuck at 4. The 2 best players in the draft are off the board. What do you do?
So this is tougher now because I think Will Campbell's going to be really good. I just want to draft a tackle knowing he can do it, not be this historical
and
outlier,
you wouldn't draft
Will Campbell would be.
You wouldn't draft a guard. If he's an elite guard, you wouldn't take him at 4.
Not at 4, no. What I would do, and I did in my last mock, and this is we'll see with the next one, is Mason Graham, because he's also regarded as a better player universally by the media big boards I respect, ex-scouts like Daniel Jeremiah, have him as a better player than Will Campbell and a top 5 player in this class. And you go, okay, well, they just loaded up on the D-line. Well, Milton Williams, they're going to ask him to play a lot more, but what's going to power that defensive line is depth and rotation and guys going in and out. So even if Christian Barmore can come back and play, and last I checked, the Patriots don't know if that's true yet. Mason Graham is near the top of my list if I can't trade back, but man, fellas, I would love to move back.
There's no
the other
way
guy would be McMillan. I would consider it for.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to trade back. There's no one in this draft that anyone's going to trade up to get. What about the kid, the edge rusher from Georgia, that's supposed to have this like elite athleticism?
Javon Walker.
Yeah, Javon Walker.
Jalen Walker. Yeah.
Jalen Walker. Yeah, thanks a lot, John. First your mic breaks, now this. What about Jalen Walker?
I like Jalen Walker a lot. He's a guy that in the old scheme where you had linebackers flexing from off ball to on the edge, like he fits the prototype. In the new scheme, he's a little bit light, and it looks like he would have to go, based on his measurables, to play full-time off the ball because he's like 235, maybe 240 pounds. And Harold Landry, for example, is about 15 pounds heavier than that. So I don't think he'll play full-time on the edge, even though that's where he was great. All of his pressure rate stats, the efficiencies are really good. And then you go off ball, well, 235, 240s, bigger than they wanted inside linebacker. Like Robert Spillane is 229. Guys that were chasing Jamie and Sherwood were 216. So I don't know that he's a scheme fit, but in the old defense, absolutely would take him. I think he'll be a really good player. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife up front.
Overall, macro, again, to get through free agency, and God forbid the draft, and you don't end up with a clear-cut number 1 receiver or a left tackle, is there any way to look at this offseason for the Patriots other than a failure?
Yes. I think there's room between, a home run and a strikeout, right? Like you could argue this is a single or a double because of all of the work they had to do on defense, which, let's be clear, was just as big of a problem. It's not as old of a problem for the Patriots, but they were bottom 5 in defense, fewest sacks in the league. You add Milton Williams. That's a good move. Now, as far as not adding a number 1 receiver or left tackle, to me, it would be a complete offensive failure and a failure to Drake May if you leave the offseason without a left tackle, because you have to protect
And to me,
him.
that's the bigger of the two, and that's why you have to rank it a failure. If you're not going to be able to protect your second-year quarterback, and you could be going down the Mac Jones route again of damaging this kid because you didn't do enough to either A, protect him, or B, give him targets to throw to, sorry, that's a failure. I don't care. I don't care how good you make the defense in the process. If you don't address the 2 biggest needs on offense, which are directly related to developing this young quarterback, which we give them credit for drafting Drake May. That's a huge get. You got a quarterback, but if you don't do the necessary things for him in at the very least year 2, then you have failed. That's a failure.
So, Hardy, what grades can your kids come home with that you're pissed about?
I mean, anything
below a what?
Anything above a B+ is fine.
Oh, okay. So
perfection.
It depends on the kid in the class.
So a C- you'd be upset with.
A C-, I think they could probably be doing better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's if this offseason stays where it is, and they've got still more money to spend, more free agency, obviously the whole draft. I wouldn't rule out a trade, by the way. Cooper Kupp could be cut tomorrow. That's something I would very much keep in mind. Right now, it sits at about a C- to the points that you just gave. Is that a failure? No, because it's not an F. That's where I would land on this.
All right, hell yeah. I mean, if you bring Cooper Kupp, watch out, world. That offense is going to be humming. What about Kelvin Banks from Texas?
They would have somebody.
Kelvin Banks, super athletic. He's bigger than Will Campbell.
By the
but
way, he's a
also-
tackle from Texas Outland Trophy winner. Go ahead.
He's fallen a little bit, as much as people fall during the draft season. Like, let's be real. All the scouts have their grades in. You're just kind of dotting I's and crossing T's if you're in an actual front office. The point is, there are concerns with him just like Will Campbell, and that you might want to move him to guard. Don't love that. I do like, though, the collection of offensive tackles behind him that include Ohio State's Josh Simmons, maybe Josh Connolly from Oregon, that the Patriots, if they wanted to, could trade up from the beginning of the second round into the late first. Banks, though, I don't think will be there. And I'm not wild about in the first place, though. He's a super talented kid.
Okay, because that will be interesting. 4, unfortunately, is not a great place to be in this draft, and this is not a good draft. And who knows? What's going to be interesting is Cam Ward, and who takes him at 1. That should be interesting because the Giants are really in a state now. The Giants got nothing cooking. And if you're Tennessee, maybe you go, Cam Ward, is he that much of an upgrade from what we have now? Maybe we sit this one out and buy ourselves another year and get into a draft with some actual prospects in it. And that will be – and then because if you're New York, you got to do something or you're getting fired. I mean, they've kept their GM and they've kept their coach. This is going to be interesting. That's the pick that's the most interesting is what the Giants do, and if they move up to 1, and if Tennessee allows that.
How about them flirting with Aaron Rodgers? I haven't talked to you about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you're going to get fired. I mean, they're going to get fired. Aaron Rodgers got Holmgren fired. He got McCarthy fired. Mm-hmm. He got Saleh fired. And he will get what's-his-face fired for the Giants. Dayball fired in the Giants. If they get Aaron Rodgers, you write this down. Dayball will get fired. There is not a chance that he will not get fired. And if Pittsburgh, I'll tell you, if Pittsburgh brings in Aaron Rodgers, there's a chance he's the quarterback that finally gets a coach fired over there.
That would be like the walk-off home run for a career, getting Mike Tomlin fired. That would be amazing.
It's Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin get blown out because Aaron Rodgers is going to come in there and he's going to poison everyone. Aaron Rodgers with DK Metcalf and Pickens. Can you imagine that triumvirate running around the building?
You know what
an accomplishment.
Is a culture heat check. Like Mike Tomlin saying, I've been through Antonio Brown, baby. I can take all of this. Now, I agree with you. I look at the Giants flirting with Aaron Rodgers as you were closer than any other franchise to everything that happened within the Jets by proximity. You know this better than anyone else. It's like looking at Vesuvius go off and melt Pompeii and bury it and be like, yeah, we should move over here. That looks like a good time.
I would love to see Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers just have a word battle, just to see who can say the most words with and have nothing be said. Just talking.
Well, one's far more intelligent than the other.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, Tomlin's far more intelligent.
you know what? That's not completely fair to Tomlin. He will say a lot of words and sometimes give you lots of injury updates that you probably shouldn't be putting out there. I mean, I'm not saying that Belichick's way is the way, but holy crap!
Yeah,
he'll say too much.
Yeah, I just don't see Aaron Rodgers playing anywhere. And I'll tell you this: Aaron Rodgers is so bad. We were talking about out the air. Give me Justin Fields. At least he can move and run. That will be a huge relief. They might win 3 games, but at least they'll have a guy that's not a sitting duck, sitting back there and getting hurt every time that someone touches him. Aaron Rodgers is an effing disaster. And what so good for his legacy to be hanging around waiting to see if someone will take him. What a way to end your big Hall of Fame career with your 1 Super Bowl is to be hanging around seeing if anyone will take you. Maybe they will, maybe you won't. And then and if you go to the Giants, good for you. You go to a loser team so you can go lose your last year. He'll get hurt the first game. You watch.
Oh my God.
The first game he'll get hurt. All right, we'll be back. Do you have 2 stats in the line or no?
No.
Okay. We will be back. We will continue to talk about everything that happened yesterday as it is that time of year, the free agency frenzy going on with the Patriots. Here are the headlines. All right, lightning strikes Joe. We be that violent force of light, guaranteed to turn it out as bad as Dolomite. Like, he has to force it in. Guaranteed to turn it out as bad as Dolomite.
They were very much into Dolomite. They just weren't copying what the Beastie Boys did. They really enjoyed Dolomite.
Because we're dope kid, change like a chameleon, and whatever channel, whatever the wax show the real world is on.
Yeah.
Because we're dope kid, change like a chameleon, and the channel, whatever the wax show the real world is on. Like, I mean, it's so intolerably bad.
Too much.
And they did a Tiny Desk thing for public radio.
For NPR.
And he's like doing it still. And you're like, can't you go back and like the Descendants have some language that they use that the singer's not like that into. It's just an example. So he'll like change it. Like it's offensive now. He doesn't want to say like it's like gay or whatever, like against gays or whatever. And so like he changes it. And so you can do that. Like, wouldn't you go back and redo that verse?
He's too busy getting back over on the ones and twos and cutting it up. That's the other thing that S.A. Martinez does. He puts the wiki wax in there.
Rattle inside your head, feel redeemed like cola bottles. I mean, this. If you listen to that, you gotta at least take a step back and go try harder. All right. So the Patriots, we have our friend in studio, Andrew Callahan. He is of the 311 Coalition. No, but he is here. We've talked all about the free agent signings, and this receiver they got, Hardy, is a bit of a character.
Matt Collins and Callahan said you guys are going to love him. He's most recently with the Buffalo Bills, and he ended up here. Okay, so you said he's a big target. He's a red zone target, but also he's got the Josh McDaniels connection.
His best season was with McDaniels in Vegas.
Okay, all right. So
by far.
Throw grade on it. Slap a letter grade on it.
Redeem like Coke bottles.
Slap a letter grade on this signing.
I give it a B.
Boom.
There you
I
go.
give it a B too for the boom. All right. So you got some audio of him.
Yeah, this was a player profile done by the Buffalo Bills in-house media last year, I believe.
Okay.
When I asked Bills players about Mac Hollins, they all said the same thing.
I love Mac. Mac's awesome. One of my favorite players. Honestly, probably one of my favorite people I've ever met. Like, golly.
And that's because, well, Mac's a little different.
Oh, God. Well, that's because, Mac's a little different. What? Just say it. That's because he's a little different.
Mac's a little different.
Oh, you stink.
Some 22-year-old kid.
Yeah, all right. Well, then
camcorder.
how about you're a billion-dollar organization? Or maybe not. You're in Buffalo. But try a little harder.
Because, well, Mac's a little different.
Like every team I've been on, they're going to be like, who's the weirdest guy? They're going to say Mac.
I say interesting.
Yeah, it's not like a bad weird.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's Tarzan. Yeah, and just like Tarzan, Mac doesn't wear shoes.
Why did you make me play this? So I'm focusing entirely on the wrong thing. What? Huh?
Walks around barefoot, walks into the stadium, into practice barefoot.
Does he just step on dead things?
Shows up to game day barefoot.
Goes to the morgue and tramples around? And then it allows you to smell them?
Yeah, and just like Tarzan, Mac doesn't wear shoes.
I think shoes are a tool. Okay. And people have made them a part of their body. Like, I wouldn't walk around with a hammer just because I might need a hammer sometimes.
Now, he does wear cleats because he has to, but he calls them foot prisons.
Like, look at that little tiny toe box. How you going to fit your toes in there?
Yeah, how? How you going to do that? It's going to hurt. Something bad's going to happen if you put your foot in there.
Can't go wee all the way home.
Wee? Where? How much?
But this barefoot thing is catching on.
Joe was out here shoeless yesterday for a walkthrough. Started walking around barefoot yesterday. And you look around, there's 10 other guys barefoot.
Nobody's...
Whoa. Heaven?
It's a bonanza.
Have I died?
Is Bills training camp open to the public?
Who's this coach?
Walking around barefoot in life yet. I think I'm the only one doing that one.
Now, this no shoes thing is just the beginning of Mac's unique personality.
Oh, it's my man's ass!
Like his thoughts on cats.
Small cats will steal your soul. Never have them around. If it's a house cat, that'll steal your soul.
Or the fact that he doesn't use utensils.
Like, what happened that people said you got to start using utensils? Your hands will help your lips, and you're more cognizant of washing your hands. People are like, it's dirty. No, it's not, because I know I'm about to use my hands, so I got to wash them.
All right, it's before the draft. Him and his agent are going out with members of a front office. He's not eating with his hands, I can assure you of that.
Yeah, how do you eat cereal?
This is an affectation for attention, and
You
I don't
slurp it
like
again.
No.
And I don't like buying into it either. I don't like this. I don't like it. So
Mac's a little different.
Screw you. Okay, I give Mac Hollins now D-. I don't like him.
B
trying too hard.
B Fred, you're Callahan.
Come on, Fred.
B minus. Is that an aggregate score from all the Herald guys? Because it's B minus on the Herald free agency.
Oh, is
track.
it? No.
Is
no,
it you
then
and
I misspoke.
Hyde?
No, I've done all our grades on the Herald,
Oh!
so B minus.
Are you just running the Herald now? That's pretty much you.
No.
Yeah.
No, Doug did a ton of work yesterday.
Oh,
and does.
that's right, Doug.
Same with our piece the other week. I know I came on shows, but like that piece.
No, you guys are a great team, and we do
Yeah.
appreciate that. In all seriousness.
One
that
more
you two
Matt
work as a
Collins
team.
bit. He has got a TikTok. He went on Good Morning America for this, for his home life hacks and home improvement tips. He's got Fast Facts Friday to his home maintenance series. So if you need more sound next hour when I'm gone,
Yeah, Fred.
fire up that TikTok,
Do
baby.
not like that. Come on now.
I don't even understand what you just said. So
I might
to be
have-
honest with you, I'm a little
I might-
I
confused.
know Hardy's a fan immediately.
Yeah, but I might have to finally get TikTok in order to see
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's
I
the
have
problem.
avoided it
Yeah.
all this time.
Well, I don't like it's infiltrating our child's mind with socialist ideas and communist ideas. All right, listen. It was a pleasure having you back, Andrew Callahan. We appreciate it.
Great to be back. Do you want an off-season 2 stats and a lie? I almost feel like I let you down without having one today.
No. You weren't expected to have one. Okay. No, not at all. I was just asking because I didn't want to tease something that didn't happen, and I didn't want. And if you had made one, I didn't want to go. Oh no, we're not doing it.
Some would say it's Hardy's turn after Wallach tried to pull one off on me last time I was in, and it didn't go as well for him.
Next
but
time you're in, I'll have a 2 stats and a lie ready for the group.
Yeah, and
My
you
man.
will be in again, and you'll be
from
filling
Friday.
in and things like that. All
Oh,
right,
there we go.
we'll be back in just a moment.
You know what you got.
What I get?
F plus.
Patriots game.
Look into the end zone, trying to keep the play alive. Falling down, he goes to the end zone. It's got it! Touchdown!
WBZFM at HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
A Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots got right to work during day one of the NFL's legal tampering period. They signed a total of 7 players, the biggest of which was former Philadelphia defensive lineman Milton Williams, who agreed to a 4-year, $104 million contract. Coming on board as well, former Detroit defensive back Carlton Davis for 3 years, Vegas linebacker Robert Spillane for 3 years, and Jets right tackle Morgan Moses for 3 years. Also, the Patriots had signed backup quarterback Josh Dobbs, former Buffalo wideout Mac Hollins, and free agent defensive tackle Kyrus Tonga. Around the league, Sam Darnold cashed in. He signed a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with Seattle. Today, the New York Giants have signed the top safety on the board, Javon Holland, to a 3-year, $45 million deal. And Minnesota has signed defensive lineman Jonathan Allen to a 3-year, $60 million contract. Celtics blew a 23-point fourth-quarter lead against Utah, but they had enough to hold on for a 114-108 win at TD Garden. Sam Hauser, 9 threes. He finished with a career-high 33 points. The homestand ends tomorrow night with a big game against Oklahoma City. Bruins face Florida at TD Garden tonight. Brad Marchand not expected to play against his old team and said yesterday he's not sure when he's going to be able to suit up for his new one.
Yeah, timeline-wise, I don't really know when I'll be back. I'm going to shoot to get back because it's always been something that I've taken a lot of pride in is trying to really limit the amount of games that I've missed and trying to push through whatever I can to play, and that won't change here.
Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Red Sox had yesterday off. They played Philadelphia in Fort Myers today. Lucas Giolito will make his first start of the spring. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Avidia Bank, the Metro West best bank. Work with a community bank that goes above and beyond for their customers and their community. Honest to goodness. Member FDIC, member DIF. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the sports.
Oh, I demanded it. I strong-armed it and got it done. We have a new photo, but Nicholas, I'm being told that during the YouTube broadcast, in the breaks, the new photo is not up. What gives Nicholas?
Yeah, that's out of my control. Somebody else has to do that.
Have they been notified?
Yes.
Okay. And on 985thesportshub.com, the new photo's not up. Nicholas?
Oh, I haven't seen that. I'll double check that.
All right, Nicholas, double down. Let's get the troops moving.
Okay.
All right, you're my voice, baby.
Will do.
You feed my ego.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Okay.
I do enough for you.
Don't stay home. You don't have to if you don't want to.
What if I want to stay home? What if there's a new virus?
But it gives you
Please
the out.
stay home.
If you want to. If you want to, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to.
They should have redone it during Corona and going, please stay home tonight or you'll die. No, you can't play basketball outside. All right, look, you had a friend. You know, this is real. This is a true thing, lest you think I'm just trying to manufacture content. Hardy came back from Puerto Rico. He was so smitten by his Uber driver where he went, get this corporation out of the way.
Who stopped by our table a couple of times. And I just like the way this kid worked. Didn't write anything down, had some suggestions.
I hate when they don't write it down
I
because
love
I've
it.
been there.
Well, it reminds me of the Coney Islands where they never write anything
Well, there's
down.
only 3 things on the menu.
But you can have a table of 6 and everyone has a different.
I heard anyone short of receiving a lot of money compliment the behavior of a table. In the service industry, in fact, people are often talking poorly about the customers. I don't know if you were aware of that behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did that, and I was a waiter and a bartender, and sure, that happens, but that doesn't mean friendships can't be made, forged, and even developed over the course of time. And I think Daniel and I, started down that road. What's your point, Fred?
All right.
What's the
So
point?
anyway, he texted Daniel. And Daniel didn't get back to him right away, but he did get back to him 4 hours later. He said,
2 hours.
He said, and so have you texted Daniel since then?
No.
Okay, you haven't. But you had someone who was interested in using him, right?
Correct.
But you didn't even tell him that.
No.
Why not?
I
want him for yourself.
No,
You feel like you own him.
I gave the guy Daniel's information and said, good luck. You know?
Okay, because this is going to be a test because this is real. I have a friend who has a friend. Now, this person is like a parent who is going down to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And is looking for a driver, specifically a driver. Now, this person doesn't listen to the show and didn't know this, but my friend does and knows of your relationship with Daniel. So here's the thing. Will you share Daniel's information 2 degrees stranger? So there's me, who you know, and I know someone who I'm friends with. That's a stranger to you, but at least I can vouch for them. But then there's another stranger on top of that who I don't even know and I can't vouch for. Where are you with Daniel? Do you trust sharing Daniel's information with a 2-degree stranger?
I told you the vetting process for this other guy, Chris, who emailed me back on.
Oh, it was just a listener.
It was a listener. This back on February 27th. He said, heading to PR next week for vacation. You know what? I need to find out from Chris right now how it went. And he said, I heard you talking about the driver. Could you send me his contact info? And I said, I'm reading the email now. Do you promise to treat him as the prince that he is?
Yeah, that seems like you were having fun.
Do you swear you'll shower him with respect and gratuities? If so, his name is so-and-so and his number is this.
Oh, so there was really no vetting.
There's a bit of, no, I looked
Can you do me a favor?
I looked this guy up. He is a local business owner. He is in a respectable business, and he's seems to be an executive and a professional. And I thought he looked okay.
Can you do this for me? Can you text Daniel? I'm being serious. Can you text Daniel now, because you have his number in your phone, and say, is it okay if I give your information to someone who needs a driver?
I've already given it out.
No, but for this person.
I need to know more about the person.
Yeah, but just ask Daniel if it's okay.
It is okay.
I want to see if he'll get back to you. This is a legitimate reason to text him. Please text Daniel.
No, this in my last conversation where he gave us gifts and trinkets and memories of our visit there. I asked him if I can share his number, and he said absolutely. So that's already been established.
Right,
I'm not going to text him under that premise.
There's someone I don't really know that is looking for a driver. May I share your contact with them?
He would know. I would not share that information. I will vet them first.
Ask. Well, I'm not going.
You're trying to get me
process.
to text Daniel. I'm not going to do it.
You won't even text him to say I'm giving you business.
No, he knows that I'm giving him business if he gets the business. Without giving it, you're giving me the business.
Just text Daniel.
No.
And why not?
No.
Why not?
You know what he's scared of? He's scared of that someone might become better friends with Daniel.
I'm not.
He's scared to text Daniel because he's afraid to scare him.
I'm afraid to ruin our relationship, our friendship.
But I honestly, and I've been honest with you the whole time. The first one, it was funny because it was creepy. This one's not. This one's just like, hey man, do you mind if I share your information? I don't know this person.
Do you mind sharing the information with this person who wants to text Daniel and engage his services and let me get in touch with them?
Oh, if you text Daniel, yeah. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. I can do it now.
Well, but it's like 2 people removed from you. You don't know that.
Right.
You can do
But
that.
I'll ask my friend to give me the person's information. Absolutely.
Okay, you get that information for me ready to text, and that's when I'll text Daniel. You come through the phone number of the person who wants to employ him, and then I'll text Daniel.
Now, how is that? How do you feel? Why do you feel more comfortable doing that than you do just texting him now, out of curiosity?
Because if he says yes, and then he never hears from this person, he'll think I didn't share the information out of spite. And when it turns out I just didn't share it because I didn't like the person, and there's a fairly good chance I won't like this person.
Well,
if it were just a friend of yours and you were vouching for it, that would not be enough for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. But you gave it to a listener just based on a simple background check. I mean,
I'm a very good judge of character, very judgy, and I'm very good at it.
if Ted Bundy was around during the internet age and Ted Bundy emailed you and you background checked Ted Bundy, it wouldn't come up that he's a serial killer. It would come up that he's like a handsome guy that, has a job.
Yeah, I bet he was good to Uber drivers, too. In terms of his relationship with
All right,
Daniel, that would have been fun.
My friend is texting me right now.
Okay. Do I know this friend? Have I met this friend?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, I have it. Okay. I'll send it to you now.
All right.
Well, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, friend, for sending this to me so quickly. Retired and NICU nurse, this person is.
Okay.
Right. The last time I texted you was the $20 that you got. All right, there you go.
I had to set up Apple Pay for that.
It's someone's mom. Go ahead, look. Now you got the info. Let's send it out. Let's give it to Daniel now.
A NICU nurse, come on.
It's someone's mom.
Well, I got to look up this person first and see if he was raised right.
All right, now he's just playing radio. There's no reason for this.
Well, you can't.
Oh, no, because
there's no last name.
There's no reason for this at all.
I did more background on the listener than I'm able to do on this person.
But it's someone I know's friend's mom. So that means if there's anywhere in the realm of our age, that means it's an old person.
Have you ever met the friend?
No. I can vouch for my friend, and then it's the mom of their friend. So I now you have the information. Send it to Daniel. Come on.
Can I want to do one thing first.
Just send it to Daniel.
Stop.
Being very judgy here.
You stop.
Okay.
The first thing I want to do.
Yes.
Before I do any of this.
Okay.
I want to reach back out to Chris and see if he worked with Daniel last week and see how it went.
What if he doesn't get back to you? Then will you give Daniel the information?
He'll get back to me. By the way, Sarah and Everett, for that other thing, has not yet gotten back to me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Emails 5 times a day,
Who had
except
that?
when you actually
Yeah.
want her to email.
She is something else. If that is not a woman, that Sarah from Everett will send 1,000 nonsensical emails and call in every day. But then every time we ask Sarah for Everett something on purpose, she is completely evasive. That is unbelievable. She's got to be very, very frustrating to date. That's got to be someone who's incredibly
We gave her a
frustrating
few
to
days
date.
lead on this, too. It's not like Hardy reached out yesterday to say, hey, Thursday. That's 3 days.
Remember when she had the car and we were just like, hey,
yeah.
Sarah, like,
Yeah.
will you give the car to Adam? And she was all cagey and like elusive until she finally called in. It's just like, I don't like it.
Might have to talk about someone else in that bracket position. I want people we can count on.
Do you think there's any way Sarah from Everett would even come in?
I think there's a chance, yeah.
Okay, because she's very cagey. She sent me a picture one time with her head, no head in it. I didn't even ask for it. Like, I don't care.
Weird.
But it would be interesting to see her. Have you ever seen her?
Only old photographs.
Yeah.
How old are we talking? Like teenage photographs?
Well,
or-
it was from the time when she claimed she went to prom with Matt Damon and Ben
it's
Ben
from
Affleck.
the 60s.
And it was, it was like a group photo.
All right. Well, there's so many things that have to get done before you will text Daniel. But,
Yeah, that's
but
right.
you will text Daniel.
There's a good chance I will.
All right. When are you going to let me know if you texted Daniel?
I got a lot of thinking to do and a lot of vetting to do.
All right. There's no vetting.
Oh, wait a second.
No, she just gave me the last name.
Okay.
I will write it down for you.
Sarah is obviously listening. She just emailed. She said, I just saw your email. Sorry, let's talk.
So she doesn't use email for getting them purposes. She uses email for just sending purposes. It's on the back.
Okay. All right.
Now you got the last name. Are you happy? Now it's an Italian person, obviously.
Right.
So you're going to have to go through that whole thing.
The way Hardy negotiated all this, he should be able to negotiate a visit from Sarah from Everett. He's a hard-nosed guy at the table here.
I mean, you give him if he knows he has something of value, he's like a dog. Like as soon as the dog picks something up and you want it, the dog starts protecting it. That's what Hardy's doing right now.
I respect that.
You do. See, I find it incredibly aggravating. All right. When we come back, our award-winning email segment, and by the way, we have spent 3 straight hours on sports. All Patriots. A little bit of Bruins. So everyone hold your horses. I've given out my grades for every signing. BBCDE. That's what I've done.
Say BBC.
All right. I did. And I can't because that's all I think about. Freudian. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. 98.5 The
It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
By the way, Hardy has now vetted this person and found them being praised in a Globe article about nurses, so he has cleared the vetting of Daniel. Now, are you texting Daniel?
I'm texting. You just asked me to
Yeah.
text you Daniel's information.
But will you
So I'm
give
doing
Daniel
that
a heads up that someone's coming?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from Chris, who allegedly was going to contact Daniel last week when he was in Puerto Rico. And that way I can have like a two-pronged, hey, I hooked you up with this guy Chris last week. I'm sending someone else your way. So I'm waiting to hear back from
And
Chris
then you're
first.
almost like a pimp at this point, and you start getting a percentage.
I don't like to think of it that way, and yes.
Yeah. Then you're like, Daniel.
I'm not looking
hello.
for money, though.
Hello. No, you're looking for, he pays you back with love.
Sure.
That's right. You got no money. We can work something out. Daniel, you come here. You drive around. You don't have to give me any money, baby. Your body is my reward.
He did play some jazz in the car. There was, this eclectic mix of music. There was the Bad Bunny, of course,
Nice.
as is required by law in the territory of Puerto Rico. But there was some jazz one night. There was some just regular pop music one day.
Yeah, he was changing things up from you.
Yeah, it depended on the time of day, where we were going, what we were doing.
All right, so you can email us. Just go to 985thesportshub.com. It has our emails. You can follow us on Instagram at Toucher and Hardy, at Fred Toucher is me. I haven't looked at my bona fides yet, but we're probably getting there. We're probably getting close to 25. Where do I want next?
25,000.
25,000 gets me into the next level.
Oh.
So that's what we're looking for.
Okay, Kendra is where now? Do we know?
I haven't looked at Kendra.
I know. I'm just saying, Kendra, you were going to catch her, and then
Fred's at 24.6.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I've been there for a while.
Yeah, I know. It's not
Kendra
great.
is at 30.5.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can't compete with that.
You're
She
not
has
gonna
a
catch her
spa
there.
burn.
I feel like she's stalled out a little bit though. I feel like you're if any time is the time, now's the time to make up that ground.
You know what? To be honest with you, I have not seen her on Instagram that I recall of late. So maybe she's taking a break. Ha 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 ha. No, that would be silly. David says during our 311 contest that Adam put together, he said it's so obvious Wallach was looking up the Slipknot one before anyone was paying any attention to him. Then Hardy called on him, and he pretended like he didn't look it up. Just hearing him say it made it so obvious, ha, ha, ha. And he will 100% never admit to it. Zero chance he will admit to it.
I think he would admit to it right now. It's been some time. It doesn't matter one way or the other. Wallach, were you over there? And who's to say he wasn't allowed to do that anyway? You call on a lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Who's to say the person on the other end of the phone isn't looking it up on the computer? Wallach, did you look it up?
Yes. There you have it. Problem solved. Chill. I knew the Incubus one. That one I knew. I did not know the Slipknot one.
Well, that wasn't in the spirit of the competition.
Very sneaky, though.
Very sneaky.
Now, was Slipknot the one you helped Fred on?
I don't remember. I don't know who got the point.
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention
I know
to
this
the
is for the
results.
championship of the world, but I have no idea.
I know, because we ended in a tie, but
yeah.
if you cheated for Fred and didn't cheat for me.
Actually, I think I cheated for you.
Well, it doesn't matter then.
Okay.
It's still a tie.
All right. Rats. All right, so there's an email. I think I'm at the right place in it. Where about this,
And that's because, well, Mac's a little different.
How I found that was I have a sound file that you can see the sound reverberations, and I knew that was where that guy said it because of the effing long intentional pauses, which it's oh boy, this really hits a nerve.
Because, well, Mac's a little different.
All right, so that is a guy. He's talking about this new guy, Mac, receiver from the Bills.
Matt Collins. It's a Buffalo beat reporter talking about Matt Collins. Yeah.
And it says, Mike says, "Dear Mr. Toucher, the guy's voice on the Bills video is like all of the new podcast people. That NPR, The Daily, but trying to be zany. It's amazing how the voices went from Morning Zoo, which was over the top, to this. I hate all of it. except you, Hardy, and Waldick. You guys are okay.
Thanks.
So there he goes.
Thanks.
And I'm getting some flack for being critical on the Patriots offseason, which I think, if anything, people would be critical of my indifference to the Patriots offseason.
I think you've been more supportive. Yeah. I've been more critical than anything. I just I'm glad they made a couple of signings yesterday, and you got some blueprint for the defense. I get it. You come out of this without a legitimate left tackle and a legitimate number one receiver.
You had one job: protect the franchise, and they haven't done that.
Well, how about protect your quarterback, which is the only good thing? And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is okay. I'm sorry, the semantics, but yeah, that's what you meant.
Yes.
That's what I mean. And there's also, if you're afraid of spending money, whether it's on DK Metcalf or anything else, this is a cliche, but it's true. If you want to get good and get good players, you got to start by getting a good player. And Drake May is your good player right now. Mm-hmm. He won't be good, though, without a left tackle and without a legitimate number one receiver.
And I don't want Morgan Moses flipping from right tackle to left to try there. I don't want Cade Wallace flipping over. I want a left tackle that knows how to play left tackle. And I don't want Will Campbell, a left tackle that's going to turn into a guard. I want a left tackle.
Now, why I am indifferent is that this is not a disaster like the one where with Judon and all those guys, which was a franchise-crushing free agent spree.
Yeah.
This is – I like the Morgan Moses signing because it is what it is. It's a guy that's going to be able to stand there for 15 games and block.
You had a need. You had a need at right tackle. You signed a right tackle. You had a need at defensive lineman.
The defensive line – was a great signing because he's 25, and what's it matter? Like, you spent a lot of money on him, but what's the difference? Like, you're not throwing that away. You're gambling on a high upside kid. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. And I'm indifferent to the linebacker, and I'm indifferent to the receiver. I'm indifferent to Carlton. I thought
quarterback is weird because you had a guy right.
The corner, I just thought it was, and I'm curious why they spent money at that position for a guy who's just okay. But listen, I don't have a problem with it. This isn't setting your franchise back in any way. You are better. You'll have a much better, or you'll have a better defense than you had last year. And great. That's fantastic. I don't think you did anything terrible. I think it's uninteresting, and that's about it. And that's not a crime. I look at the last free agent spree they went on was a disaster. I said it at the time, and I was absolutely right. That's not how you build a team. They didn't do anything this time, I think, that hamstrings the organization, and it doesn't put them in a purgatory.
Right.
And if you sign a 25-year-old kid and that's who you spend money on, that's the kind of guy you want to spend money on. In Morgan Moses, you're in a unique situation where you literally need to assemble an offensive line. And Morgan Moses is a good locker room guy. He's tough. He's not a great right tackle, but he's fine. And there you go.
That's what I would have done. Get the Pittsburgh guy, the Pittsburgh free agent guy, and take one of those defensive free agent salaries off the board. Overspend on the mediocre Pittsburgh left tackle. And then, well, I guess we went to Tennessee. I've forgotten already. But honestly, that's where you spend your money, protecting your franchise quarterback's blind side. And they did everything but do that. I don't understand the theory unless they're so sold on Will Campbell and they know he's going to be there at 4, and that's the guy.
Yeah.
And Mark Daniels tweeted that out. If they don't fill the left tackle role, if they don't fill the left tackle vacancy, there are a lot of fans of Will Campbell in the Patriots front office. Watch for him at 4. And everything we've read is that his arms are too short, which seems kind of odd, but that's all we know. None of us know about left tackle play. But if that's the case and he's going to have to move inside the guard, I hope they don't spend pick number 4 on that guy.
No, you don't want to take a guard at 4. Maybe they like the kid from Texas. He certainly won a lot of awards. Hardy, by the way, with the Daniel thing, has now vetted and verified the woman. Oh, I already did say that.
Things are motion. Things are in motion.
Yeah, but I do have an update. It's not great. About Daniel.
Daniel won't talk to you no more. It's your fault.
Daniel?
I would text him now and say, I got 2 people that want to use you as a driver.
Is this how you treat your friends?
All right, I'll try and fix it.
All right, Wayne says, hey, I wouldn't want to create any controversy, But I'm heading to the PR for my research on my movie adaptation of The Arm in the Fall.
Controversy.
Artie, am I worthy of sharing Daniel's information? I promise no funny business. I cashed out the 401k and have plenty of tips.
All-American good looks remain to know the league's best quarterback was too dead.
Everyone knows
Sunday's championship game.
Look at the market's tanking. Move it into appliances. That's the thing. They're good forever.
The Kush.
You get a refrigerator that's tangible. It holds food. That's what you want to use your money on.
Jerry got up, grabbed his pants, and pulled out his wallet. There's an extra $100 in it for you if you get up and leave right now. 200. She mumbled. Okay. So we flipped out another C note.
Yeah, C note. You know what that's short for. All right, look. This tariff nonsense has got everyone thinking recession. Now's the time to pull. If you got Tesla stock, get out now. Get out while it's down half its value.
Buy high, sell low before it goes lower.
Now's not the time to ride anything out. Now's the time to pull. Yeah. As soon as I saw Elon with that chainsaw, I thought, let's get Tesla. Nothing could happen from this. Yeah. I said, the more the CEO starts acting weird, the better the stock's going to do. That's my way of thinking. Okay. Well, thank you to everyone who emails us. We do appreciate it. And when we come back, we will have our award-winning stack. And again, I apologize for my ruthless takedown of the Patriots this morning, as I have many, many opinions on the signings that they made. They got a 29-year-old middle linebacker. What do you want me to say about it? What's the big takeaway from that? So you got a guy to play middle linebacker. He's 29 years old. When you're good, he won't be on the team. That's
supposed
fine.
to be Chris Farley. You know that signing? No, that was awesome.
Yeah. What do you? I give it a C. How about that? I give it a bouncy C. Give it a bouncy C. I like the defensive tackle.
Take some hot mustard and you put it on a bun, but
bread.
not too much because you burn your tongue.
There you go. All right. We'll be back here. The headlines.
Essential Sports Hub.
Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
With Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. This just in. I now have Daniel's contact.
Oh, hey, now things will get done here. Here we go.
And Hardy, you've texted Daniel.
I did. I texted him almost 6 minutes ago.
First of all, thank you for trusting me with Daniel's information, knowing that I won't abuse it.
I know you won't.
Yeah.
Hey, I gave your number out to a couple of people traveling to PR soon.
Yeah, like an insider. I got it.
Semicolon. Person's name and person's name. This is the part of the text that I really don't like. Just giving you a heads up. Just is a very weak word I've learned to use in emails and texts. This is from my, businesswoman wife who tells me you don't say, hey, just checking in. That's kind of like a weak, you're coming as a subordinate, as like, I don't want to bother you, but did you get that proposal I said? No. You should say something like, giving you the heads up. Mm-hmm. But I already sent it, and I don't want to edit it because I don't want to see him to see that I've edited the text.
Sure.
I don't want him to think I'm thinking about. Yes, that would be bad too.
That would be bad, yeah.
So whatever. Hey, I gave your number out to a couple of people traveling to PR soon. Blank and blank. Just giving you a heads up.
7 minutes.
7 minutes ago.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So
what if he never gets back to you? Are you done with him?
No. God, no. No. No.
Okay.
Because I will be going back to Puerto Rico, and I will contact him when I do. Unless, of course, I find out that he's no longer in the business, and then I'll still contact him to see if he wants to, go to La Garita and get some mofongo. That's his favorite restaurant. Now it's one of my favorites, too.
And that's how a fellowship works, is that you start talking.
Just doing some fellowship.
Yeah, just doing some fellowship. Like, hey, here's something I enjoy. Maybe you'll enjoy it. And that's how society gets going.
That's right. That's how we operate. All right, I'm going to close my phone because I'm just looking at the text and I don't want to know. Here's something fun from Red Sox spring training. Dan Shaughnessy writing about Jim Rice and an interaction he had with both the Red Sox player and one of their members of the analytics staff. From the Boston Globe, Shaughnessy writes, Rice said last week he was watching a young Red Sox player hit indoors. Player approached Rice for feedback, specifically about drifting forward in the batter's box rather than keeping his hands and body in properly loaded position. From World Series winners to new on the job ranking. Oh, okay. Sorry. That's a little subtitle there. As for his thoughts, Rice offered them. According to Rice, an unidentified staffer intervened, saying the Hall of Famer's advice didn't align with the team's approach. Quote, it was something like, because I felt I was disrespected. I didn't throw myself at anyone. I'm sitting down having a coffee. Nobody's bothering me. Someone comes over and asks me a question. What am I supposed to say? I didn't go and get this kid. I didn't go and bring this kid and say, hey, hit like this. He came over and talked to me. That's where I got ticked off. I hear the team doesn't want to talk like this. We want to hit the ball in the air and hit it hard. I'm like, hey, we weren't even talking to you. We were talking. This is our conversation. Rice said he asked the staffer in question whether he'd played and was told no. Quote, then you can't talk to me. Look at the monitor, do what you do, and don't talk to me.
Yeah, Veritek mentioned this when he was asked about it. It's completely ludicrous that you would think that Jim Rice talking to a kid for 5 minutes is going to undo a lifetime of training. Dork, hey, these guys swing the bat about 1,000 times a day. I mean, Jim Rice is a little chinwag over there getting in a kid's ear. It's not a complete reorganization of a swing. Like if you were on say you played golf every day and you were on a driving range. You're 23 years old. You played golf every day since you were 3. and you're out there and you're hitting, and Joe from the auto parts store comes up to you and says, "Hey, you're shifting your weight too much forward." And you say, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, that's how you want to shift your weight." When you get back to hitting balls, now are they careening all over the place?
Well, it'd be one thing from Joe from the auto parts store, but let's say
I'm making making an illustration of how when you are at a professional level, that was actually even a bad example. When you're at a professional level of doing something, the idea of that it's going to be undone by a casual conversation is asinine.
I think golf is a great metaphor here, and not just because I think golf is a great metaphor for everything, but yeah, you're a young player, you've had a swing coach, you've got, all this your whole life, and you're on the range, and you see Nick Faldo sitting there and saying like, "Hey, I'm not getting like really good contact on my wedges." And he says, "Well, you're moving your head forward." Mm-hmm. Imagine someone from this golfer's team coming over to Faldo and saying, "Hey, don't tell him that."
I know.
Jesus,
the fact that the kid
shut up. Let Jim Rice talk to the kid.
The fact that the kid is seeking advice from a Hall of Famer might speak to your teaching technique.
Well, and also just
a little bit.
I understand that analytics are nice, but at some point the game needs to be played. At some point, athletes have to move and actually do things and create the numbers that you are so obsessed with. There have to be feet on the ground. A great general is only as good as his troops. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can devise every kind of mathematical scheme you want, and you can align the players any way that you want, and you can shift, and you can strategize, and you can have them butt in certain situations. But at a certain point, the ball is going to have to hit the bat, and you're going to need people there that know how to get that done. You can number things to the ground, and you can stat track. You can stat track them. You can do all that. Believe me, my son, I know the rotation on his fastball. I know the rotation on his curveball. I know the miles per hour off the bat. I know the believe me,
exit velocity.
I know the exit velocity. Yeah. I know the track master. I know all of that stuff. That's all fantastic. You need someone to teach it and need someone to do it. And you can't do that. You can tell the general manager who you think statistically is the best player to use in certain situations and who the team should acquire. But at a certain point, the player has to do it. And Veritek gives the example of Goldschmidt and Arenado, who went out to this place that everyone's using now, and it screwed them all up. And by the way, that's not talking to a Hall of Famer for 5 seconds. That's, spending an offseason, changing everything, and then coming back, and now you've got a 1-year deal with the Yankees to be platoon at first. So, be careful. There's a point where, I don't know, it's just an arrogance of a generation of just, I know what I'm doing because, by the way, this numbers don't lie. That's fine, and that's great, but, you don't know how to do it. You know how to find people that can do it, but you don't know how to do it, dumbass. You set up a computer, and I can read the numbers as much as you can, but at a certain point, they got to do it. All right, there you go. So I'm on Jim Rice's side of this, even though he was a huge dick to Wallach once.
Oh, that's right. We never got the Wallach side of this.
Tell the story tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jim Rice, that's shocking that he was an a-hole to you. I've never heard anything like that before. And I'm sure he likes that Patches Tweed McGee that's on the broadcast with him on Nesson. That
Patches Tweed McGee?
Yeah, the Ivy League kid from the Globe that's unreadable.
Alex Spear.
Oh.
Patches Tweed McGee.
Really lean into that. Who's consuming that? All right, very good. That'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day.